Thank you, everybody. We are at full quorum. Okay, thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's 6:15 on Tuesday, August 28th. Welcome to the Manhattan Community Board 1 full board meeting. I'm Tammy Meltzer, I'm chair of the board. We start with our public session. Members of the public can speak 1 to 2 minutes per speaker. And so looking at who has registered and who would like to speak. I know that I have Warren Green, who has both emailed and called. Can we find Warren online? Do you want to just boost him up? Yep. Warren, we're gonna make you a panelist.
I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. Give it a shot.
Announce your name.
Okay.
Warren Green.
My name is Warren Green, and this is about the congestion pricing toll rebate for which I qualify. In January, I called Easy Pass to ask them if they would send me a statement of how much I paid for the toll during the year. I was told they would not, and then I had to count month by month, which I did. That number was inserted into the New York State tax forms and submitted accordingly. I also asked if I should adjust my total paid by the credit of $3 because I used the tunnels on occasion to return to the district. They said no. I started to look for my refund check and was notified that the Department of Taxation and Finance sent me a letter. That letter asked me for information about my rebate claim. I was asked for the following information: copies of the Easy Pass statement showing proof that the tolls paid by the MTA, proof of payment of tolls to the MTA, proof that I lived in the district with copies of utility bills and mortgage or lease statements as proof of my primary residence in the district. I obtained copies of my Easy Pass statements, my credit card statements, and my Spectrum account for fiscal year 2025. I also made copies of the first page of my lease, my driver's license, and my voter registration showing that I vote in Lower Manhattan. Because my printer is not working, I called Grace Lee's office to help me get an email so that I could email all of these documents. About 10 days ago, I was told by Grace's office someone would get back to me in 2 weeks. It takes 30 seconds to give somebody an email address, and everybody has one these days. Luckily, Grace's office was able to get me an email and fax number yesterday. I was able to email everything in 2 emails since there are so many documents requested. I have yet to get a confirmation that everything is requested is in order, as I might have missed one document or duplicated a document. Had I received a statement from Easy Pass in January, I probably would not have had to provide all of this documentation, and had the Department of Taxation bothered to look at their records that I have filed my taxes for decades from a location in the district, I probably would not have had I would have already had my refund. I just wonder how many residents who qualify for the rebate have the time, energy, and effort to respond to something like this. I have more to comment, but I am limited in the amount of time I have here. One more thought: how do I get interest for the money the state has taken over the year? I don't know. You know how hard it is to live in Manhattan on under $60,000 a year. I don't have use of the money. Thank you.
I did let Warren go 45 seconds longer, and I will admit to the board, it's because he did call me 3 times today after making sure that his registration to speak tonight happened. So this is why he started at the top of the hour. He is not the only person who is struggling. I have an appreciation to Grace's office for attempting to help, and we actually escalated him up to Jordan Feiner at the governor's office for the Manhattan Community Liaison to help figure out some of the MTA issues, and hopefully that will help. All right, thank you very, very much. All right, let's move along to the next person who would like to speak during the public session. Mary Ann Braverman. Let's move Mary Ann up and back, please.
Thank you, Tammy. I wanted to speak
welcome.
tonight to support a resolution that's before the board related to the ground rent that's charged in Battery Park City. The resolution would support legislation that would give some relief to owners where Battery Park City is their primary address and they've got certain income levels, under certain income levels. The point I
Is that
most
it?
want to make is that a lot of people have been here for many, many years. And they've gone from working full-time to living on retirement income. And I think it's very unfortunate that people who have made such a commitment to the community, been good neighbors and so on, are feeling, some have been forced out already by costs and others are on the brink. So I just want to register my support for that reason. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary Ann. Oops, let me make sure that I stop the timer and reset it. I'm not used to doing both, so. Everybody's got. Okay, all right, the next person, speaking, who would like to speak as a member of the public is Mark Leemis. Leemis. And Mark is online. Can somebody move him up? He's already moved. All right, Mark, you can unmute yourself.
I'll make sure I'm not giving feedback. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay. So before I say anything, I want to clarify I've never been to one of these meetings and I don't know if this is the right place to bring it up, but I'm going to at least hit you with this. And then if you have any thoughts on it, you can let me know. So there is currently construction on the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel on the Manhattan side. That side of the tunnel for 2+ months they've been doing jackhammering, which is very loud, and it typically is starting sometimes as early as 8 a.m. And then is going kind of intermittently throughout the day, so it's not necessarily the whole day, but sometimes happening through the day, but at least very least starting very early. I've tried to, and I'm not going to get into all the details here to keep this brief, but I've tried to, I've spoken to them directly, like gone down and spoken to them. The responses are normally pretty hostile when you try to get any kind of information. And then even once I've gleaned a little bit of information, I've tried to contact certain agencies and gotten no information about how long the project is going, exactly what's going on. So the main two concerns I have are around just the lack of transparency and the construction noise, and how long it's been going. And then the second concern is, I think, the lack of concern over the fact that there's residential buildings on both sides of that building, and there's not a whole lot being done to address that. So, as I said, the construction starting very early in the morning with large residential buildings on either side. Some of that could obviously be done a little bit later, that kind of thing. Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what to do, but the thing is I can't contact any agency and get information, so that's mainly why I'm here.
Okay, well, Mark, you're actually in the right place. Welcome. So we're gonna, you have given us your contact information and your email. We have it from you signing in. We're gonna have Zach Bomber in the office reach back out to you because
8 o'clock is legal.
8 o'clock is legal in the morning, so that's not the issue, but I actually don't remember anything at the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel that's been presented to us. So we'll have Zach connect with you and see what we can find out. All righty? And if you need to reach Zach, you can certainly call our general office, which is 212-602-6300. All righty?
Perfect, thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Member of the public. Penny. Let's move Penny Pun up from the pack. And I don't know if you wanted to speak during the public session or the public hearing, but I think we'll take you here.
Okay.
Hi, Penny.
Hi,
Hey.
my name is Penny. I'm the Associate Director of Civic Alliances at PAC NYC, the Performing Arts Center right across the memorial. And my course is on the table if you would like to learn more. Today, I would like to just share a little bit about our upcoming Family Day. As you probably know, we're always grateful for the community and for the neighborhood of joining us. And our Family Day is an all-day event on May 30th. That means the center will be open from 10 to 4 p.m. It's completely public, free of charge. The building will be activated with a variety of family-friendly activities such as space painting, music, theater, and just all kind of mind workshops. So if you're interested, please take a flyers. And if you're ever connected to any schools or children's center programming, I would also ask for your help in taking the flyers and just promoting it to the children organizations and family organizations around the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Connect you, Penny, directly across with Bob Townley if you've never connected with Bob from Manhattan Youth.
Right here.
I think that's
Thank
a,
you for beautiful event. I've been to it. But now I don't have a family anymore.
yes, you do.
You have a
They're just
family
not-
with like kids.
No, we take care of 5,000 families every day, so I'll connect with you.
Thank you.
So
I got it, thank you. I'll send
A
you.
friendly reminder, if you're sitting in the room, please make sure you've logged in. You won't get called on if you want to speak for the public sessions. Or our electeds won't get called on unless you sign in. So you can scan the QR code that's right there, or you can go to live.mcv1.nyc and log in through there. Okay. Seeing no other signups for people who wanted to speak during the public session, I will ask if there's anybody in the room who is looking to speak, who is in the process of signing up. Nope. I don't see anybody. Is there anybody else online? If you, Justine cannot speak during the public session. She knows better.
Oh, right.
Sorry. Community board members don't have that right. So during the public session, is there anybody else? I think it's to raise your hand is star six. Or just start with, start with.
6, star 6.
Right? If you're online and you wanted to speak during the public session, please raise your hand. Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close the public session at 6:28. Thank you so much, everybody. And then go to the public hearing. The public hearing is designed about the New York City Council and preliminary budget responses. I saw no specific signups other than Penny, who signed up for the public hearing, which we let her come in the public session. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in regard to the city council budget? This came open and closed and signed. Okay, fantastic. Not hearing or seeing anybody, we're rolling right along tonight, the way I like it. All right, public hearing is done. I will say that, the latest rumor that we heard today on the news was that it looks like the, city budget might be pushed back to May, the end of May.
I just saw something online that the mayor and the city council speaker agreed to that.
Perfect. All right, so.
Go for it, Julie.
At least, yeah. All righty, so with that note, let's go into the business session, which starts with our adoption of the March 2026 minutes. For those who are joining us from the public, this is part of the business session, so from this point forward, unless you're needed for resources and information and recognized by the chair, there is no hand raising. Okay, Brendan, you're up, roll call.
Okay, for the adoption of the March minutes, starting with Russo, Arden, Blank, turn your cameras on,
What?
please.
Blank, yes. Here.
Brown Kennedy, Cameron,
Cameron, yes.
Cassell,
Cassell, yes.
Kane,
Bang, yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Charcudian,
Charcudian, yes.
Cole,
Oh, yes.
Coleman, Foreman,
Foreman, yes.
Kuchia,
Kuchia, yes.
Curtis,
Curtis, yes.
Dimmitt,
Dimick, yes.
Flores, Friedman, Roman,
Roman, yes.
Galloway,
Galloway, yes.
Goldstein,
Goldstein, yes.
Goodkind,
Goodkind, yes.
Hernandez, James,
James, yes.
Joyce,
Hearing nothing.
Kay, Cannell, Capel, Lerner,
Lerner, yes.
Lewinson,
Lewinson, yes.
Lyon, Melton,
Meltzer, yes.
Minsley,
Minsley, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
Panya, Porshakori, Rios,
Rios, yes.
Robinson, Sean Scott, Barrett, Shear, Laura Starr,
Yes.
Jimmy Song, Vera Song,
Yes.
Thompson, yes, Townley,
Yes.
you,
Yes.
Zelter.
Yes.
Right.
Awesome, thanks, everybody. So we're gonna try something new with our updates from our elected officials. We don't have, I'm not sure if the borough president's gonna stop in or not, I don't think so today. But what we're gonna start to do, looking ahead, we give our electeds, when they're in the room, 8 minutes. What sunk us last month was we had about a half an hour of people asking questions because they were very eager to talk to the elected official. I love that. That's amazing. But here's what I think is probably the better way to go about this. If it's a topic that more than one person really wants to talk about, instead of having 4 people go around the room on the same topic, that really sounds like it should be on a committee agenda to us, right? Because that's where the work that we're gonna do as a group are, and have the elected representatives come into the room so we can actually have a great discussion and move things forward. Unless, of course, we don't have the time. But, so what I'm gonna ask, and again, we only have reps in the room tonight, I believe, but going forward, and we'll do this by email if everybody kind of agrees, that, let's say, I asked a question about a brand new bill that Grace Lee, just pulling a name off my head, puts forward. Right, so Assemblymember Lee has a bill in the assembly that we wanna talk about in committee. It comes up, I ask a question, Richard wants to ask a second question. And then Jill wants to ask a third, and Eric wants to ask a fourth. That to me seems like that should be a discussion in committee. And have the person who's the bill drafter, the legislative, come into and speak at committee, so everybody around the room eventually can have more information. So, what I'm going to ask the board members to do is to self-control. 1 question I get, 2 questions again. When we get to the third, the answer is, would you be willing to come to committee to discuss this topic? And that way we are not here for a half an hour on one topic from our electeds. Does that sound reasonable for everybody?
Sounds reasonable.
Looking to find ways to make sure that everybody feels like they can engage, and yet we're not kind of, I'm not seeing this around the room, the paddles from people, right? All right, perfect. So with that, let's give it a start. I think Dan's online, and he's gonna kick us off tonight.
Dan is,
Dan Byers from Senator Kavanaugh's office. Because I don't see, I saw anybody from Goldman's office.
Hey, everybody, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Sorry I couldn't make it there. We're short-staffed, and I'm doing the community board hub tonight. So, just a quick update. This past month, we hosted our office hours at Nazareth Housing's tax prep event at Haven Plaza, and we partnered with New York Legal Assistance Group, or NYLAG, to do a mobile office clinic in front of the Mandy Cantor Center. We're starting to plan our office hours for this summer, so please do reach out if you have requests. I know that we definitely should do one in CB1, and so I'm going to touch base with Tammy and Zach about that. Also, we are in the process of scheduling both the next Battery Park City Community Advisory Committee meeting as well as the Manhattan Detention Complex Working Group meeting. So look for those dates soon if you're a part of that. I heard, I think Marianne mentioned earlier that you're going to be voting on a resolution and related to Senator Kavanaugh's Battery Park City ground rent bill S1462. That's exciting. It passed the Senate, and I know a lot of you are advocating for it to pass the Assembly as well. So happy to hear that. I also wanted to just mention for Mark, I've gotten the Mark Lemus who spoke earlier. I've also gotten outreach from people about construction near the Holland Tunnel. So when you reach out to Zach, if you can give him my email too, that would be really helpful. And then because I've reached out to the MTA, I'm still working on getting a cogent answer, but I can probably help with that. I will leave it there. I think you all know that the state budget is a month late now. Negotiations continue between the state legislature and the governor, and I'll keep you posted regarding any updates, but I'll take questions.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Dan?
Justine, this.
Justine, go.
Just want to say thank you, Dan, for supporting Battery Park City's bill. Appreciate it.
Of course,
Bye.
yeah. Thanks, Justine.
And Dan, the only thing that I'm gonna give comments back is, we hear a lot and there's an email campaign going on from residents in Battery Park City. So perhaps the senator can engage the public and have Battery Park City Authority engage in a different way before we hit the construction meeting. Just a general suggestion.
Okay, yeah, heard. I'll bring that to my supervisor and think about that a little bit before our next meeting.
Fantastic. All righty, thanks
Cool.
very much.
Thanks all.
Assemblyman
All right, bye.
Glick's office, Lane is here.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Lane.
Okay, so yeah, just some legislative updates from Assemblymember Glick's office. Assemblymember Glick was very happy to see that pied-à-terre tax she's fought for since 2014 with Borough President Hoylman Siegel was picked up by the mayor and governor in the budget. Obviously, that was from when the borough president was state senator. And then today, actually, one of her bills was passed. The Animals and Traveling Acts bill passed in the Assembly today, which prohibits certain types of animals like cats and bears in traveling acts to keep animals and spectators safe. And then lastly, Assemblymember Glick has signed on to Assemblymember Charles Falls' bill related to the ground rent rebates for eligible homeowners, renters in the Battery Park project area. So yeah, those are my legislative updates. And as Dan mentioned, state budget, yep, ongoing. So Assemblymember Glick is up in Albany a lot. But yeah, any questions?
Does anybody have questions for Assemblymember Glick? Thank you very much, hearing and seeing.
Tammy, I do just a quick, sorry, online. Quick thank you to Assemblymember Glick for supporting that bill with Assemblymember Fall. Now let's get it to the floor so it gets voted on. So thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Can we do a resounding thank you to all political officials that support that bill, so we don't have to have it every one?
Amen.
I wasn't gonna call it Justine.
Love
for the same
it, but
reason.
thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
exactly. Thank you very much. Alrighty, I don't see anybody here from Assemblymember Falls or Assemblymember Lee's office. Whoop, hi, sorry.
Who's there? The young thing.
Sorry about that. Whoops.
He talks like 10 minutes ago.
Losing my marbles. Welcome.
The old ones.
Oh, really, sir?
Why not? We'll give you a chair. I messed
This is
that
so
one.
exciting. Hey, everyone. Again, my name is Hayden Ryan. I work for Assemblymember Lee, Director of Special Projects. So, got some updates here. The first one is that Assemblymember Lee introduced, actually, I'll just get right off the bat. We are also co-sponsoring the bill. So thank you to all colleagues and glad to help. We'll get it moving. Assemblymember Lee introduced the Tear Down Tax Act recently to help address housing shortage in the city. This legislation would charge a tax of $10,000 per unit that's taken off market when a multifamily home is torn down to build a luxury condo. Additionally, we have our API Summit coming up. That is Thursday, Friday, May 7th and 8th, an all-day event on Friday, and then an evening reception the Thursday night before. So I can send all those bits of information out.
What did you say the date was, Scott?
7 and 8.
Of May?
Yes. The
Did you
7th in the
state
evening.
The time?
Yes, 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday, and then 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Friday.
Thank you.
A lot of you have probably already gotten an email from me about that. But if you haven't, please reach out. Be happy to have you there. Additionally, some other legislative updates. Let's see. Sorry, just one moment. I believe we already spoke previously in earlier meetings about the ICE contract transparency bill. But I can just quickly laid out. It creates a publicly accessible database for contracts entered into by ICE and private entities, just ensuring transparency and accountability for businesses that are entering into contracts with ICE in the state. This, for example, would cover Pier 40 and their license to park vehicles there. Additionally, of course, budget negotiations, and they were proud to have in the one house utility rebate checks of up to $500 for millions of households. Historic expansion of childcare support, including launching 2Care and funding universal 3K in the city, and then $183 million for immigrant social and legal services. Finally, $900 million for clean water infrastructure. Those are all the main updates I have. Happy to take any questions back to the team.
Yeah, you had mentioned,
Eric, can you state your name?
Eric, you had mentioned Grace Lee introduced this bill that would add a 10K tax if demolishing multi-unit housing, right? It wasn't for condos. I looked at, it's to build like a big like a mega mansion, right? Is that it?
The language I have here that the comms team prepped for me was a luxury condo specifically.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a condo, I mean, in a way, that kind of encourages home ownership. So I mean, I have ambivalence towards that, because maybe if it's condos like very, wealthy, I can understand it, but how do you, what's the criteria? Like, because it's still a form of home ownership.
I mean, by the term luxury condo in here, I would think that would maybe be the certain value of the condo that's being built in its market. That is being sold for, but I'm not part of our alleged team, so I can't speak too fully on that, but I can get your info after this, quick sort of that.
Perfect way to do that. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Hayden? Hearing and seeing none, let me check online because I'm not so good. You don't sign in, I don't call. That's the big difference. All right, hearing and seeing no hands up online, thank you very much. And have a great week.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week. All right, Max or Andrew, who's going first? Max, you first? Andrew? Andrew, you need to come up because lots of details for you.
That's this, Andrew.
Hello, it's Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. First off, Manhattan Borough President Brad Hoylman-Siegel hosted the Manhattan City Council delegation this morning in this very room. Basically, he met with the Manhattan City Council members, talked about their specific concerns in their districts, their priorities, and how we can better work with the Manhattan City Council to help address these issues together. Secondly, Manhattan Borough President Brad Hoylman-Siegel joined other elected officials to demand that the Trump administration share its plans for the Penn Station redevelopment. If the federal RFP is being hidden, that's not just bad process, it's wrong. So we deserve, New Yorkers deserve a seat at the table, and then we need to know what's going on with the Penn Station deal. The Manhattan Borough President's Office submitted its response to the mayor's FY27 preliminary budget already. And you can read our response at bpbhs.com/budget response. We also sent a letter to Governor Hochul, the Assembly Speaker, Senate Leader Stuart Cousins, calling for the release of all state records related to the cleanup of 9/11. We need to know what the state government knew at the time and when they knew it. Good news regarding the Battery Park fence, it's down. Well, not entirely down, but a portion of it has been taken down. And,
On that wall.
I had good pictures.
yes, and, Tammy can talk more during her report. I believe, I was mentioned this I believe this was mentioned previously, but we're looking for volunteers. We're relaunching the volunteer corps under the Manhattan Borough President's Office. So anybody who wants to volunteer, please let us know or sign up. bpbhs.com/volunteer.
What does that entail?
Well, it can help, but, putting materials together to give away at community events. It could include tabling at community events. It could include volunteering to staff our monthly celebrations. We have a Women's History Month celebration, Black History Month, Lunar New Year, so stuff like that.
What's the time commitment?
It's up to the person. So community board applications, we're reviewing we're at the tail end of reviewing applications. There will be interviews soon, and we hope to have appointments done by, I would say, late May. So, we have a new administration, new borough president, so it's a new process. That's why it's been taking longer than usual. And there's a lot to say. We're thankful that the pride flag was restored at the Stonewall National Monuments. We're grateful to the mayor and DOT Commissioner Flynn for working to redesign the Manhattan entrance bike lane for the Brooklyn Bridge, because we're gonna welcome a lot of people for the World Cup this summer.
Yes.
And we've been meeting with Big Apple Greeter and other groups to see how we can work with these groups to greet tourists and visitors ahead of the World Cup as well. Then I guess, lastly, I will say that we have been hosting monthly convenings for Manhattan elected officials and immigration advocates on how to deal with, ICE and other issues facing migrants and immigrants. And we'll continue to have these meetings to help address their issues. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat?
Hi, Andrew.
Yes.
Andrew, would you please speak to the borough president that we have been asking the police, we've been talking about the dirt that's accumulated from the vendors, the food vendors in front of City Hall, and also the vendors that are back on the Brooklyn Bridge. They were removed and now they're back on, and it's a dangerous situation. And we're gonna have all of these people in the city walking across the bridge. We need those vendors removed. So can he work with the Brooklyn Borough President and please
Yes,
do something to get that
Yeah.
taken care of?
Thank you for bringing that up. We also, our office has met with the City Hall Park Conservancy, and they also mentioned that issue as well.
Great,
I'd also like to mention that, on a call recently, about another topic for City Hall, with City Hall Park Conservancy, I found out that there is a likelihood that there will be no repairs done, that we'll be able to reopen the southern gate to City Hall Park, and that is unacceptable.
Ever?
The sidewalk,
No, once it's closed.
the sidewalk is tiny over there. They repaired some of it, but we need to be able to access the southern site.
More capital funding, yeah, I believe that they mentioned that as well.
I don't think but that wouldn't be capital fund, that's just fixing problem that they caused themselves.
Well, the truck fell through.
Right, that the city caused themselves, so this isn't us asking for additional funding, it's asking for you to repair what you broke.
Right.
Correct, on all accounts. Anybody else? Hi.
State your name.
Ushma, and piggybacking on you, can you tell the Manhattan Borough President to walk on Canal Street? And it's disgusting, it's dirty, you can't even walk on the street, on the sidewalk, you gotta walk on the street.
Yeah.
And my kids are young and they're really scared to walk on that street, and I need to get to the Q train and the N train. And I can get high walking. the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
I lost their shit.
I believe he walked, he did a walkthrough of Canal Street maybe like one or 2 months ago, and, but I will reiterate that, so.
You could do it again.
It,
Safety hazard.
to be succinct, it's not cold. It's hot now and it's a mess.
Okay.
And as long as he's doing a walking tour, we'd be happy walking around the battery, and hopefully, right, without security, so he could be, proposed by the lovely people in Florida.
He actually had a battery tour with the Battery Conservancy
Yeah.
last week, so.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew in the corner.
With respect to your, Andrew Zelter, with respect to your comment about seeking feedback from the Trump administration about the plans for the pump station.
Yeah.
Anything specific, or is that just a holistic comment that you need line of sight on what their plans are? Or is there something more specific that you're interested in learning?
I think, I'm not sure. I mean, I do know generally that we don't. I think we're trying to get as much information as possible, so I know that the MTA has been left out of the process regarding the redesign. I guess it's just whatever information that they're able to share from their side, yeah.
All right, who else around the room? Nope. If it's, sorry. We're gonna do a one and done going around the room.
Cool.
Okay, you can certainly email it to
Yeah.
Andrew.
I will.
Andrew, would you mind giving your email for everybody?
Right now.
Yeah, it's ACHANG
ACHANG.
at manhattanbp.nyc.gov.
Manhattan B.
P, yeah, manhattanbp.nyc.gov.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle. All right, thank you very much, Andrew. Max, you're up, and then Peter's gonna go, and then, Ariel's last.
Hi, everyone. Max Deutsch from Councilmember Marte's office. So to start with some legislative updates, so you might have seen in the news that last week, 15 home care workers went on an 8-day hunger strike right outside City Hall, demanding the city council pass Councilmember Marte's No More 24 Act to ban 24-hour work shifts. And so thankfully, the workers were able to announce a pause in their hunger strike as they had a meeting with the council member and Speaker Menon, and the speaker committed to passing the bill in May. So we're hopeful that the bill would pass and they won't have to go back on strike. This past month, the council member introduced a number of bills, including legislation to increase school gardens citywide, to improve anti-discrimination training and resources for senior center staff, specifically for increasing protections for LGBTQ seniors, and also a bill to require that any DSNY violation has to come with a photo of that violation as proof that there actually was a violation. And then this Thursday, we'll be introducing legislation that would require Department of Small Business Services to do a study on the impact of film shoots on small businesses and to create a plan to help small businesses mitigate or, recoup any losses that they receive, while there's a film shoot in front of their store. And then on Wednesday, May 6th at 10 a.m., the council's Transportation Committee will be having a hearing on our bill, Introduction 825, which would allow fair fare card recipients to receive more than one replacement card per year. Currently, and we've had this a number of constituents with this issue, if you lose your fair fare card more than once in a year, they don't give you a replacement, and so you just totally lose the benefit. And so, yeah, our bill would just allow unlimited replacement cards. As some land use updates, this past month, Councilmember Marte joined a meeting with, I think, all the downtown elected officials and overlapping elected officials with the Deputy Mayor for Operations, Julie Curson, regarding the Chinatown Jail, where we all pushed for the alternative uses of the jail site, the impacts of the Chung Pak building. And then separately, the council member also had a meeting with Speaker Menon and advocates for the alternative plan about building affordable housing on that site and moving the jail to the MCC. And so while it was an early stage meeting, the speaker is limited in how much she's able to actually do on this. It was productive, and we came up with some concrete next steps. So we'll definitely have more updates in the future. I'll say on the community side, definitely hear you and agree with you about Canal Street. We do walk it. It's bad. The council member basically on a weekly basis has been talking to City Hall and telling them, we need to have meetings and letters, and they keep telling us, they're gonna get back to us, and so I definitely agree, I'll talk to the council member again about how we can escalate this further. And yeah, just as if anyone, last community event we're having, if anyone is a fan of comic books or Jewish history, on Monday, May 11th, we're gonna be co-sponsoring a co-naming ceremony for Jack Kirby. We're gonna be hearing Jack Kirby Way. Jack Kirby was one of the founding creators of Marvel Comics. He created Captain America, Iron Man, Black Panther, the Avengers, the X-Men, hundreds of characters, and he grew up on Essex Street. The Thing and the Fantastic Four, which he created, grew up on Yancey Street, which is a fictionalized version of Delancey Street. And so we're closing the whole street. All the biggest names of comic book creators are gonna be there. We're hosting it with the American Jewish Historical Society. The Kirby family is gonna be there. So it's gonna be I think objectively just uplifting and great event. And that's gonna be Monday, May 11th at noon on Essex and Delancey, right where Kirby grew up. And we'll have a flyer that's a really cool flyer that was just made that we can send out. And with that, I think I'll take questions.
All right, Pat's first, and then Betty, I think is back there.
The fare cards. I don't totally agree it should be unlimited. I do think it should be, how do you know that people are not, I'm not accusing, but how do you know people are not selling them?
Well, because it's tied to the individual. So if it gets reported as lost, the previous cards don't work anymore. And so again, I actually was having a call. Maybe the bill doesn't say unlimited. I'll say that. The bill does say, right, to allow more. We don't have, we don't have a cap.
But there should be a cap. There should be,
But yes, but I would say, yes, perhaps again, if someone is getting 30 in a year, right, that's a flag, and someone should look into
Even
that.
60, hold on. Okay, thanks.
Betty?
I'm talking about the bill about the 24-hour shifts. When I was physical therapist, which was really my whole career, I worked with people with severe disabilities, mobility challenges. They relied completely on Medicaid to pay for their attendance, which the federal government makes 24-hour shifts. So if I want to know what the city's doing, because they can't forgo 12 hours of not using the money the feds are giving them. They can't afford to pay out of pocket, but they need their aid to toilet them, to give them drinks, to fix their respirators, do any kind of transfer so they end up with skin problems. And they are completely dependent on somebody else and have dependents that work with them all the time. What's being done, because it seems like they're pitting one very needy group against another. What's going to happen to these people? They're just going to be left to die because somebody doesn't want to work a 24-hour shift?
Well, I would first disagree with the idea that someone doesn't want to work at 20, right? It's people like home attendants are dying from working these shifts of those conditions, right? But taking a step back, so our bill, right, we've been working with, and again, the bill is still currently undergoing revisions, taking in a lot of that feedback, but yes, the bill, right, our current version of the bill is tied to next year's state budget, so we can pass the bill and then work with the state. And we're working with the leaders in the state. The bill, there is the state version of the bill in the Labor Committee. We have the chair of the Senate Labor Committee who is telling us, like, for the state to act, they need the city council to pass this bill. Similarly, Assemblymember Ron Kim, who is also very involved in these negotiations on the state. We're also, right, we know that our office has personally worked with many home care agencies to switch from 24-hour shifts to split shifts, and they've been able to do it while keeping all their patients, and all the patients are, keep 24-hour care. Right. So I think, we believe that, right, there is a way forward. The city right, we can't use the state's refusing to act as an excuse for us not to do anything. And so again, we're working with the various stakeholders. Literally today, the council member was meeting with stakeholders on this bill. And so, by the time we get a final bill, we do have a plan to make sure that when the bill would go into effect, right, we're working with everyone. Everyone is working with the state to make sure whatever adjustments might be needed can be done by the effective date, which as of now is April 1st, 2027, which is when the next state budget is supposed to pass.
But then, so I also want to say that I do 24-hour care 7 days a week. So I understand what it's like to live with it more than any of them do.
Okay,
This one's very spot on. I was reading actually an op-ed in the Times or the Daily News the other day. And there's also an insurance problem for the people that can't function without 24-hour care. And usually, unfortunately, I'm too familiar with this because of family members that are not here anymore. And if it wasn't for that, my mother would have been in a facility and would have survived a week as opposed to a couple more years. Usually the aid, not all the time, because once again, it's pitting two good sides together. The aides are underpaid and they're not appreciated enough. But usually sleeping most of the night when the person is sleeping or taking their nap. So it's not like 24 hours. They should be paid for a day. But there's also some type of insurance thing where the split shifts, sometimes the insurance doesn't, you have to prove other things. And it's really hard to prove. There needs to be a carve out the situations of what Betty just said, because for those situations, it could be cruel. Thank you.
All right, any, Ushma? Sorry about that. I can't see you because you're straight over there. Apologies.
And maybe the borough president has something here. The other question I had on is, does Amazon Blue, could be a bike, it could be a car. They're not following the road rules. I've almost been hit like 3 times in the past couple of weeks. So can the council, or the borough president, the guy, write a letter to Amazon, do training, give tickets to Amazon that are more than $50, like something that is, I know like FedEx, they also pay the bills, but there's gotta be something. Because they're going the wrong direction, they're crossing the red light, and maybe I can say, okay with the bike, but this thing is like, it's a car.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah, that's an issue, because the facility, the warehouse is another part of our district, so yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know, there needs to be training and communication and.
Do you have to have a driver's license to drive that thing?
No, you
No
do
idea,
not.
stop them. You do.
No licensing and no permit required.
And no helmet.
Got it.
It's like a car, it's that blue thing,
Yeah, you should drive, have a license.
but they're not following the road rules, they act like a bike.
Okay,
They-
stop. This is actually funny that you note that because that'll probably be a discussion in transportation upcoming very, very soon.
Good.
All right, anything else for Max? Online. Thank you for, we're gonna go Christine Dimick. You gotta unmute yourself, darling.
There we go. Hey, Max. Sorry about that. Can we get an update on what's going on in the Battery with the ticket hustlers or whatever we're calling them, like what they're doing and what the bill is? And I know it's at a standstill. Have you made any progress?
Yeah, so finally have heard back from Statue of Liberty Cruises. So for context, their lobbyists had drafted a bill. We got the bill, they fired their lobbyists, so we had no one to talk to about said bill. Now we took a couple months to actually get back in touch with them. Now we have, and so literally just yesterday. So don't know what the next step is yet, but yes, have talked to them, officially got connected. So hopefully we can move forward with something there.
Okay, so do you have an ETA or anything? Because summer's coming. I mean, as of 2 weeks, it was unmanageable. I couldn't walk. You simply couldn't walk over there, with the amount of tourists and the sidewalk and the construction and everything. I know BPCA is trying to open it up in time for, I think their deadline's May 31st is what the word on the street is, but still, when we were there, they're telling people that they have to pay to enter the park. It's just, I don't know. I mean, do we have any deadline on that, or?
Again, like I said, just heard back from them yesterday, so I'm hoping now, again, I just don't have an exact timeline, but yeah, I definitely agree, would love to get something resolved, as quickly as possible.
Can you provide some urgency, seeing as all the things that are about to happen this summer are going to be a huge impact on tourism and that location as well?
Yeah, that's what I've told the Statue of Liberty folks. Yeah.
So I'd love to see if we could I know that there's a task force that meets. I'd love to see if we can do some out of the box thinking.
Well, so
and
that's where the bill came from the task force.
beyond that, because it takes so long to get legislation done. I mean, seriously, why? I'm thinking old school, like a stationed police booth. Because
Right.
It's in actually one of my pictures from my chair report, because I was told I couldn't enter the park unless I paid.
What part?
On my way to the press conference.
Yes.
And on the way out,
Too, yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, we just need to do immediate action.
Okay, yeah.
So that if we can't get a bill passed by Memorial Day, then we will need to we need to have a creative NYPD and small business task force action steps.
All right, so yeah, I'll talk to the council member, and yeah,
Okay,
we'll connect.
awesome. Anybody else have anything for? Fantastic, thank you very much,
Good report, man.
and we're moving along. Peter.
Beautiful.
Good evening.
Peter is from the,
Good evening. I'm Peter Slade from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Thanks, Henry. Thank you for accommodating us. I'm not going to give any prosecution updates tonight. I just want to leave one announcement. I left cards on the table. Manhattan District Attorney's Office and NYPD is sponsoring a gun buyback. It's Saturday, June 13th, 10 to 4. Information's there. Includes buying back ghost guns. As you know, one of the priorities for the Manhattan District Attorney is to get as many guns off the street as possible. So thank you very much. Open to any questions.
anybody have questions?
Will you buy my 3D printer?
Yeah. Thank you. This is very contextual, and thank you, Peter, because we did have incidences of gun violence in Lower Manhattan in the subways, so announcing this is actually, very contextual, so thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Ariel, take us home, Public Advocate's Office.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ariel, Senior Policy and Budget Associate downstairs at the Public Advocate's Office. Just want to just really quick, if you haven't heard about the Delivery Protection Act, this is about the Amazon drivers. Many of those drivers are not hired by Amazon directly, which makes it often very difficult to regulate them. The Public Advocate is a supporter of Councilmember Tiffany Caban's Delivery Protection Act. This would regulate many of those drivers and the last mile facilities where our packages sit before they come to us. Sorry?
What does it mean, regular?
Oh, let him finish the report.
Yeah, so it would do several things. It would require licensing of the last mile package facilities. The previous version of the bill required Amazon and similar companies to hire drivers directly. There's edits happening on the bill after a hearing last week or a couple weeks ago. So we don't know exactly where that will fall, but it does have a majority of city council members on it right now. So things are moving at least to better regulate. I know Chris Markway is a sponsor as well, so there's movement there. On the Public Advocate's work.
Sorry, can you state the name of the Public Advocate?
Yes, Public Advocate Jemani Williams. Jemani D. Williams. Yes. So late last month, the Public Advocate launched our new Build a Budget tool. It's an interactive tool that lets you look at the city's budget and attempt to balance city spending and explore revenue options. As many of you know, we're in a pretty serious budget deficit right now. And so this is a tool that we created to try to educate New Yorkers about what's in the budget, what kind of choices do lawmakers have to make when negotiating the budget, and what options we have for raising new revenue. You can use that tool at advocate.nyc.gov/buildabudget. Yeah, and I hope to work on that. I do budget work, so happy to answer any questions there. Tax day did pass, but if you haven't, filed yet, the city offers free tax services for eligible New Yorkers. You can get more information about that at nyc.gov/DCA. Make sure to sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter, the Advocate Bulletin. You can sign up for that at bit.ly/advocate newsletter. On legislative work, the Public Advocate worked closely with the Street Vendor Project to pass a bill during last session to establish the Office of Street Vendor Services. That office launched at the end of last month. This will help the city's smallest business owners navigate obstacles to licensing, inconsistencies in enforcement, and to better understand the regulations for that industry. The public advocate has pushed for over a decade to build infrastructure for a safer city and was really excited to join the mayor to announce the new Office of Community Safety. The city's challenging old ideas and advancing new ones, helping to reshape our systems by building innovative solutions. By doing so, our city can create real community safety going forward. Our office also released a suite of 16 steps to reduce potential harms of gambling. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm gonna ask the first question when you're done. Keep going.
Of gambling in a new report called Play It Safe, Mitigating Gambling Harms in New York City. The state legalized online sports betting a few years ago. There's 3 new casinos coming. I believe the first one actually opened today. We have to be able to both welcome potential economic benefits, but also acknowledge and address potential harms.
Destroys families, it's not potential.
I wrote that report. I'm very happy to talk to them.
Okay, guys, let him finish.
Sorry.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
Keep moving. Hey, okay, keep moving.
I got it.
Sorry, back and forth.
Yeah, we don't have any immediate public events coming up, but you can find our public events at nycpublicadvocate.eventbrite.com. And you can always stay in touch with us by reaching out at gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov.
I'm gonna go first. For the lovely new safety committee, please, we'd love to take a walk with you on Canal Street, and we'd love to take a walk at the Battery. And we'd like all the reps from that committee. We're down for anything new, down for anything innovative, just down for being a safer place for the public. Okay?
Cross the Brooklyn Bridge.
Ushma goes next.
On the gambling front, can you also add in, I work a lot on kids and tech and phone. And online gambling is a huge issue with, I don't want to gender it, but it seems to be with boys and online gambling. So
For sure.
I think doing, having that task force or that safety thing, also focusing on kids and school education on gambling would be, I think, a wonderful thing to do.
I have amazing news for you. So that was, it was just a report. I'm working on a gambling legislative package to that kind of takes the recommendations from that report. One of the big ones is, the city is launching what's called the Financial Literacy for Youth Initiative. It's a pilot, so it's not going to be citywide for a few years. But it brings financial literacy courses to youth, and we are pushing for that to include education around gambling harms and responsible gambling.
Okay, we're gonna be connected to parents who are working on tax gambling and all that, we could be impactful.
Pat, you're next.
So 2 things. One, can someone, a representative from the office, come to the Quality of Life Committee meeting?
Sure.
Next, it's the 3rd Wednesday, what's the date? I don't know, but it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Yeah. And 2, can someone walk across the Brooklyn Bridge and see that those vendors are there? And the whole reason that they were removed the first time was because of safety issues.
Yes,
May
I will
20th.
absolutely pass that along.
May
May
20th? May 20th,
Yes.
okay, and we'll invite you, but I'm inviting you.
Yeah, I can give you my email, and if you send,
Give that, yeah,
I'll forward a formal invitation to our schedule.
Okay.
thank you.
Anybody else online have any hands up in the room, online? Hearing and seeing none. Zach, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
All right, I have one other thing, but it'll wait. I will email you. All right, so thank you very much, Ariel. And with that, we close our updates from our elected officials and move on to the treasurer. And where is our missing treasurer?
Behind.
That's online. Oh, there she is. Hi, Mariama, you're up.
Hi, I'm online. Sorry. Let me get I'm driving. I apologize.
Be safe, please.
Thank you. Did we have anything exciting this month? Did anybody see anything exciting on the report? You want to ask me about, because I don't remember anything. I apologize.
All right. The treasurer's report is online. It's fully on the screen. And,
It's emailed to everyone.
it was emailed to everyone. Does anyone have any questions for Mariama? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Treasurer's report. Thank you very much, Mariama. Drive safely and please keep your eyes on the road.
Thank you. My report is that we had an uneventful month, which is a good thing. Take care.
Exactly.
Bye.
Okay, well, let's move to, thank you. Let's move to the next slide. Zach, you're up.
Okay, so today we got a demo of the new electric vehicle takeoff landing by Joby at the downtown Skyports. And see the board members here. It was a really interesting event, but things are very quiet, which is pretty cool. And Tammy's gonna talk about it more. Eric was also there, and Betty was there too, and Christine. Okay, next slide. We have a couple CUNY interns that are wrapping up their session, and Jason has been leading them, and we met with Commissioner of Landmarks Preservation Commission, Wellington Chen. And that was a really nice meeting, a really good opportunity for them to learn how you connect their work to the commission itself and what decisions they have to make when they're doing landmarking decisions. Okay, next slide. Okay, here is our calendar for May. Everyone take a look. The changes that you might notice, nominating committee is Tuesday the 5th. And again, waterfront and youth is joint, that's on the 19th. And there's a holiday on the 25th. That's officially my birthday holiday. It's just
So what Zach's trying to say is if you have a resolution, you need to have it in by the 22nd because we're done for the month.
Wow, birthday twins.
Keep going.
Okay, so we added another piece of public data to the website. Pat, you had asked for building construction permit data. So we got that up, working with our fellow from the Fund for the City of New York, Julia. She got that done before she left. So you can go to the next slide. So if you click on that part, and that will bring you to this page. So I just pulled ones open that had opened in the last couple of weeks. It'll show you this with a map.
Thank you.
You can search by location or just look on the map, and you can, look at the time frame at that top window. Next, so just to look at one item, 1 Center Street, if anybody looked up when they walked here, you will notice there is scaffolding way up high in the sky. So this is the permit that they opened for that. DCAS, Joseph Wagner is a DCAS employee under owner name. DCAS is the agency, obviously, and that shows you the estimated cost of the project, $15,000 there, and the permit is open till August.
Where
So,
does it say how long? Where does it say open to?
so if you,
Earliest expiration date
yeah.
gives you the date.
Oh, I think, okay.
So you can hover your mouse over the site, or actually at that bottom, you can kind of drag it laterally across to see all the things you can. It's
Will
just a screenshot.
Will this have scaffolding?
This is scaffolding.
Oh, that is,
So, yeah,
okay, great.
yeah.
So it is just scaffolding.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
thank you.
That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, so here we go. Welcome to Liberty Community Gardens with Best View. Before we get done with the month of April, please note that the April Community Council meeting will be held Thursday this week at New York Law School, 185 West Broadway. It is an amazing place. to bring a lot of your concerns forward about safety and police presence. So I recommend anybody who would like to go. Very grateful for Pat and for Lucy, who go every month, and we have Joanna, who's here, who's also on the First Precinct Community Council. Next slide. All right, it's been a busy month. There are lots of fun things happening. Firstly, does anybody recognize that photo under April updates? That's actually a real photo.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I recognize it.
Yeah, so the street has actually been repaired and closed, and it is Thames Street, which will be a new pedestrian plaza. It's been a busy month. We started with meeting with the Old Seaport Alliance after full board last month. The Old Seaport Alliance is a lot of the small businesses that are around SEG. They're very concerned because every time there's a large event that happens, they can't get customers to get to them. And the police prevent people from being able to like walk over to the bars for security and things. So they're concerned about FIFA and July 4th, and we're trying to help them. We've been interviewing this month for our part-time land use person, which is pretty amazing. And we're gonna hopefully pull the trigger before next month. And so that person will be working for the land use and the environmental protection meetings. They'll be teching and doing research and doing resolutions and helping the board with land use things going forward. We met with the borough president about some of the new cannabis event rules to update him on some of the concerns that we had in Lower Manhattan with CB2. We had a meeting with the 9/11 Museum and Memorial and CB1 regarding the request by Port Authority in the 1993 memorial to take off part of the planters, which are part of butterfly and nature on the Liberty Park, to put in a 1.5-story monument to the 93 bombing, which is a little, we wondered why it couldn't be at the site, actually, where they already have an exhibit and other things. So that is still in progress. We haven't been able to get the port to come to a meeting, but that we are trying. And we talked about the 25th anniversary to ensure that we have a time that day that works for everybody. Let's see, you can see things that have been going around. We were talking about World Cup and the SLA. I went to a Who Can Afford New York City, a conversation with the city representing CB1. That was an interesting panel to be able to do some Q&A on. And Zach and I toured the New York Stock Exchange. So next slide. Kind of look forward to it. All right, so turn up the heat. We all argue that we're advocates, and people say, well, you know, you can say, oh, you want your advisory, nothing happens.
Right.
Top left is what it looked like. Top right, bottom right is now what it looks like now. So that is sunset with people sitting in chairs, being able to walk all the way over to the water. It does work. When we make good trouble and we show up and we get everybody with us, it does work and it's beautiful. So now the Battery has put out tables and chairs in the section that's open and people can come up. It's actually gorgeous and reminds me of what it was before the fence went up. And on the bottom left is the Liberty Park gardens. They have a pollinator garden, which is one of the concerns that we have. With all the construction, they're learning to get rid of another pollinator bank for a statue. So the borough president, end of May. That's what we were told. Interviews should start soon. They will be group interviews, is my understanding, and we'll all go through it for those who are up for reappointment and have chosen to be reappointed. You'll hear shortly. And then we'll have new people by the end of May. Because of that, we've moved the full board training that I wanted to do to June to make sure that all the new appointments are in and they have more than a minute to breathe before we do something. So right now, we are preparing that would be June 23rd and full board would have been moved to the 30th. Really important to note the changes. The training is really to teach with a lot of new people, how to move to consensus, how to debate respectfully, how to honor people's times and considerations. All right. It will be required for full board members.
The monthly meeting is moved?
What's the view?
We just moved it so we could do the
To when?
training the 23rd and full board will be the 30th. I know some of you may have your summer plans by then, but let us know. All right,
And that's all board members. not
all
just-
board members,
Oh,
public,
Post-board.
public and full board. Okay, which means we check the borough president who does a training series, will be looking to start their training series in the fall. So this will be the only training actually that new board members get before the ones in the fall. All right, hopefully the land use group will have their report done by the end of June with George. And again, we're gonna do committee leadership and changes. Interestingly, just throwing it out there so people know, on one of our other Manhattan boards, they merged landmarks into land use. Crazy thought, but they combined the two because of the new City of Yes rules. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you have thoughts or comments, please email me. Love to hear it. Excellent.
Before you go to 6, can we just make sure that, all of our meetings and schedules and trainings are in G Calendar? So
Yep.
actually Rocky got to meet track.
That's a Zach.
Yeah.
Can you hit play? Just please.
So for like,
Can we make a suggestion? Why did you move it out of month and it's not just the next day or something?
Do you hear how quiet that is? The ridiculousness of how close it is and how you couldn't hear it today.
It's electric.
Oh.
Tammy, what is that, a helicopter or a drone?
So probably one of the most important things that I learned from this, that noise is actually a regular helicopter going by. It was so much louder. And unlike a regular helicopter where the propellers are constantly moving when it's down on the ground, the electric ones stop. So when passengers board and disembark, there's no spinning rotors, nothing. It's silent. It carries 4 passengers. They carry cargo. It is the future coming soon to a vertiport near you. Okay. So we, again, May 19th is joint committees. This was Zach and I, by the way, visiting the New York Stock Exchange. Those are the pictures on the right. Pictures on the left were right before I got hassled by the lovely ticket holders. It was fantastic. And then I got yelled at for telling a tourist that he was wrong. And that I should mind my own business if I knew what was good for me. So yeah, it's not a great situation down there. We have a lot of updates coming from Chinatown in May. We have the Borough-based jail environmental construction update that'll go to EPC. We have the Chinatown Connections, which is the new Kinlow Square and Park Road connections coming to exec. And then full board meeting's been moved. You see something, say something. So I reported the guys to 311 after I got harassed. Who was there? My lovely husband happened to have been with me and took photos. Again, if you see something, say something. Next slide. This is on the inside of the stock exchange on the left. There's survivor tree in the middle. It's beautiful walking around the park. And then nothing more than aggravation when you get to the seaport and the waterfront public space is full of storage and parking, and we're working on it. All right, next slide. Motion to limit debate. We do this every month. Remember, it requires a 2/3 vote to limit debate, but it's here for us to not let things get too crazy. Okay. Next. All right. On that note, let's hit it for Pier 15. This is the Dock NYC operator, and this is our first resolution. We have a lot of people who were not here for roll call in the beginning. So I think I tried to help Brendan out here and mark them on the list. So I'm gonna call your name. And that's hilarious. And when we're done with questions and answers, you will need to call your last name and your vote separately. I'll call for you. So these are the people I understand did not make full roll call to start with. All right, Amoruso, Friedman, Hernandez, Joyce, Panya, Robinson, and Shear. So when we're done with questions, you need to call out. Okay, anybody have any questions?
What is this?
This is Pier 15, the operator agreement. Because Hornblower is leaving.
Thank you.
And not continuing their lease.
This was not distributed, and I don't know what it is.
I
It's
don't,
not distributed, not available today. Yeah.
really? I don't know. I can check the posting when it got posted. Okay. Take your time to read it. If you want to make a motion to wait, read it and do it at the end, I'm happy to take that if that's a motion you'd like to make.
To make that motion.
Okay. Richard's made a motion to, perfect. So we'll do this one at the end and we'll move on to the next one.
When you say at the end of executive,
Committee or at the end of the meeting?
I think we can do it at the end of, we can do it, we'll see, we'll check in at the end of exec, if not, we'll move to the last one at the end, all right? All right, so the next two are sidewalk cafe for George's and a roadway cafe for Casa Restaurant. Does anybody have any questions on either application? I will say that Casa submitted the revised diagram as requested from the meeting. Any questions? Hearing and seeing none.
Call the question. Second.
Great, can I take them together? Is that good for both? All right, so we're gonna take these two together and. You with me? Okay, so we're gonna take 8789 Greenwich and 157 Duane together. And we're gonna do a vote by affirmation, except for those who did not make the first one, so. Amoruso,
No, on 157 Duane.
and you have to verbally vote because you weren't here for the first one on 89 Greenwich.
Yes, for 89.
Thank you. Going down, Friedman,
Yes, both of these things. Yeah.
thank you. Hernandez,
Yes, for both.
thank you. Joyce,
Can you go back for me, Kevin?
yes, absolutely. Tanya,
Yes.
we need to say both resolution names, and so you need 89, 87 Greenwich,
89, 87.
and your name is,
Fine.
and you vote? Okay, let's try 157 Duane.
157 Duane, Bushma, Hadia, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Robinson, 87, 89 Greenwich,
Robinson, yes.
157 Duane.
Robinson, yes.
Thank you. Okay, that brings me to Shear.
Peter, 8789 Greenwich, yes. Peter, 157 Duane, yes.
Thank you. Coming back to Joyce.
Joyce, yes, on the.
Okay, great. All right, are there any abstentions?
wait, don't we have Flora?
I did not see her.
Over there. It's right there.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. I missed you there. Flores. Thank you. Betty, what is your vote?
I didn't
So-
hear it.
Can you, I'm sorry, we have a,
157.
yeah, there's a noise coming from the back here, so I'll just need, if you're on that side of the room, be a little bit louder so you can be heard by. Yep,
Yeah, no, I abstain on that.
okay,
157.
yeah, Meltzer abstains at 157 Duane. Anybody else? Oh, that's so much. Thank you, Mitch. Any other abstentions? Any in opposition? Okay,
Eric, you votes no on 157 Duane.
No on 157 Duane, yes on the Greenwich.
You have to say your name. Nate?
Froman, no on 157 Duane, yes on the other.
Okay, anybody else?
Lerner,
Anybody?
Lerner, no on 157, yes on George.
Thank you. Anybody else online? Okay, and everybody's camera's
Oh,
on,
wait, it's, never mind.
right? Everybody's camera's on? Yeah, I know, I see it. Okay, fantastic. Both motions passed. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh. Chapman, were you here before?
Yes.
And never mind. Just want to share it out everybody. Okay, awesome. All right, Richard, you ready to go for Pier 15 or you want to wait until for last round?
Wait.
Okay, so that'll be last. No problem. Let's move on then to the next committee, street fairs. Daron, take it away.
Wait, you forgot something. There's another one.
Oh, did I? The Assembly Bill. It is a report. So Assembly Bill A 10339 relates to outdoor alcohol service for certain special events, was discussed at executive. We're going to bring the concerns that we have by letter, sending to SLA. We love the fact that the FIFA will bring a lot of business to the city and will support a lot of small businesses. The executive committee at the time felt that if you wanted to allow people to go beyond their stipulations to have alcohol service and restaurants open till 4 AM, that should be internal, not external. And that because there's no modifications or outdoor anything, there's no guardrails around it, and you could have street parties and, you know, with all the restaurants together, that it could potentially be very difficult for some people. Because it's not only on game nights, it could be any 12 nights that people want to do it during the time, till 4 o'clock in the morning with no guardrails, indoor alcohol. So a letter is going to go to SLA with any and all the concerns that were raised. Both positives and negatives. Mark?
Yeah, this will set a bad precedent because these games are local, so the games end at a reasonable time. When the next World Cup happens, games might start at 4 AM. So then, they'll come back and say, oh, we let you have it 4 years ago, why not now? And it could actually start at 4 AM and then at 7 AM. And they could be part, you know, they were starting to request that kind of nonsense, so,
We understood, because there's a couple of games that start at midnight.
yeah, so.
That's why.
Are
Are you taking this, going to share the letter with the other boards so that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, if we just say no and everybody else is yes.
Earlier in the month, SLA had been meeting with different community boards, and we were with CB 1, 2, and 3, which is our normal advocacy with them, and a lot of the discussions and topics came up. I am very grateful that Lily Fan, which is Chair Fan, came from community boards. She understands, she lives in the community. So hopefully there'll be some really good thought processes that go into this looking ahead. Okay, Daron, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Daron from Kubian, Chair of the Street Fair Committee, and we had our meeting with the Street Fair promoter right before Executive Committee last week. Two key takeaways. One, the projection from the existing street fairs and park events is projected to make slightly more than last year, 26,500. This year's a projection versus 25,000. So that's an improvement there, obviously. And then we Tammy and then the street fair promoter Joe and a few other folks had a meeting with the Central Park Conservancy on discussing the kicking off the process to get the holiday market. I'll kick it back to Tammy briefly for that shortly, just in the interest of the details on the events. The first one, April 30th is the first of I think it's 2 Liberty Street, 1 block between Broadway and Trinity. That's happening this Thursday, the first street fair event of the entire season. We're also having 3 Bowling Green Plaza events, May, June, and July. Ducati Park, 20 Wednesdays, that kicks off in early June. And finally, 2 multi-block street fairs, one on Friday, July 3rd, Water Street between Fulton and Wall. And then Sunday, October 11th, on Broadway between Liberty and Webster Streets. And the street fair promoter noted that toward the end of the season last year, so like, I guess in the fall, it started, the activity and the vendors started picking back up, but I guess he didn't specifically say, or maybe like pre-pandemic, but it certainly sounded like it was better than the prior years that we've had and the early part of the 2025 season. So with that, I'll pass it back to Tammy and then we can open up for questions on the City Hall Park and
So
Circle.
we introduced Joe, who's our street fair partner, to the City Hall Park Conservancy to see if we could work together to sponsor a holiday market on the Broadway sidewalk side. So it's south of the Deliverista Hub, north of the South Gate, in that sort of section across from the Woolworth Building, that it would be a holiday market. It would still leave sidewalk access and space and be able to benefit both City Hall Park, Conservancy, and CB1. So we would partner together for it. Brendan?
Two questions. The first one related to that. How are y'all thinking about that in relation to the fact that we just heard that the sidewalk's not gonna get fixed? Probably for.
North of that. It was north, it's not around the bend, it needs a smaller space.
Right, so it's north of that, but it's still within that block. So it's before you get to that first opening, right? So so as someone that lives right there.
Yeah.
Like that would be a big deterrent for me just to even cross the street now. If there's gonna be I mean, like, is it gonna be on one side or is it gonna be on both sides?
It would be
North of the,
it'd be along the fence itself, so it wouldn't, so it would leave, it has to leave clear enough, you can't block it.
And then also knowing that the Deliverista Hub is opening esque, I just saw them working more on it today. How are we thinking about that relationship, meaning that we're about to have cyclists on the sidewalk where they're actually allowed on that sidewalk?
They're
And
actually
then,
not allowed on the sidewalk supposedly.
so that one they are because of the closure for the mayor's, City Hall, whatever, they're allowed on that sidewalk. So I don't tell them to get the F off the sidewalk, I say, slow the F down.
Well, we'll pull DOT in and figure out, the ideal is to create a better environment for the pedestrians and to have it have a little bit more life without complicating things. So when we do a walkthrough, I'll buzz so you can come.
One more.
Sorry, what holiday and for how long?
December and no idea.
Okay.
Depends on what Sabo says.
I think it was, I mean, I think it's that right after Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve. So that's typically, that's what we did.
Yeah.
4 years ago. So I think that's roughly the contours. Could differ a little.
Sorry, two more questions. One, would you still have the holiday market that's at like Cardi Park or whatever that is? All right. And then unrelated to that, is there, I think they did this last year, but are there gonna be street fairs on Park Place? Doesn't say.
Park Place? Not ones that we're gonna sponsor.
Okay.
Other
So
people
I can't speak to that.
others, other groups, friends.
That's all.
Anybody else have any questions? Richard?
So how do we use the money? How have we used the money that we get from these street fairs and how do we make decisions about that?
So the money is spent based on whatever city funds does not cover. So for example, city funds will not be able to cover our part-time land use person, so they're gonna come out of that budget. Whenever we used to go around and around, to different venues, we paid for those. We didn't have a selection of free, so whatever we had to pay for, we paid. So there's a lot of variety of uses that we've used it over the years. I'm happy to share all of that with you. I tried to be very, persnickety about not using the funds during COVID because we didn't know what was happening and the mayor's office kept threatening to take more money away from community board. So we were very persnickety to hold on to whatever funds that we made from there, to be very considerate, knowing that when the office and everything changed, we might need to rely on, for example, training budgets and other things like that, that are not done in other areas. So that is our rainy day fund, for lack of a better word, and operations fund as well, for things that are not covered by city budget.
Chair discretion, essentially, though, yes.
And treasurer, and executive committee, I mean, depending on what, what's done. But it cannot pay for payrolled employees. Nothing, like, there's a very fine city rules. on that. Next. Okay,
Thank you.
I think we're done then. Thank you very much. Let's move on to, waterfront parks and cultural. Andrew, take it away, and then Tricia.
So, quick updates on 4 topics. The Perlman Performing Arts Center, we had a report by Jim Connors, Director of Operations. He notified us that the schedule of events for the upcoming season is now up on their website, I think as of 2 weeks ago. He mentioned they have 2 new hires, a Director of Education and a Director of Civic Alliances, and I think we'll have both coming to our meetings going forward. Some power numbers that he shared, over the last year, they've had 200,000 attendees at their structured events and the restaurant. And they also executed 450 free lobby and stage events. A marquee upcoming event, May 30th, Family Day 2026. Last year, they had 3,000 people attend. They have indoor and outdoor activities for adults and kids. Last year, CB1 helped them with communication to schools, and they had a similar request, so I'll follow up on that. Overview of Bloomberg Plaza, a reminder that it's open to general public and used for events, and they're adding seating capacity and shade in that space. Update on the restaurant, which is located on the 2nd floor, seating capacity of 180, 110 of which are indoors, 70 of which are on the terrace. Terrace opens May 26th, and the restaurant is profitable. And for 9/11, they're having 2 events. Information can be found on their website regarding that. Second topic, Hudson River Park update. We had an update from Tina Walsh, VP of Partnerships and Engagement. They are planning upwards of 500 free and low-cost events over the course of the year that are anchored around music, dance, science, environment, and water. Their program strategy and consideration of where to host the events is space-specific, so where they're having dance or looking for space to accommodate large groups and et cetera. Volunteer season has opened. It runs from April to November. There was a question from one of the committee members around, about the Tribeca Citizen article regarding off-leash activity outside of designated dog runs. Comment was that PEP officers are able to write summonses, and they are doing that. They're aware of the issue, and will try and be more dedicated to enforcement. Third update, Northeast Plaza at City Hall Park. We got an update from Jonathan Sterling, the City Hall Conservancy FCNY Fellow. If you don't know what FCNY stands for, it's the Fund for City of New York. If you're not familiar with what a fellow does under FCNY. FCNY Fellow is a graduate level fellow selected by the fund for the City of New York to work on city-focused public service, planning or policy projects, most commonly through its community planning fellowship. Not surprisingly, the headline was that the Northeast Plaza at City Hall Park is not a well-functioning, user-friendly space. Range of issues, many of the vendors that were on Brooklyn Bridge have now set up in that area. And when they did a survey of, I guess, the local community, vendors at that space were cited as the #1 problem or concern. And also there's been a spike of noise complaints in that area. We've also observed, or the fellows observed, more foot traffic as a result of growth of surrounding residential, rebound of tourism, and a redesign of the vehicular and bike lanes around that general area. And the scope of this is to try and understand, are we dealing with a design, a management, or an enforcement issue? It's probably an element of all 3. Some ideas that have come forward, not fully fleshed out yet, but perhaps replicating what has happened in other similar spaces across New York and other parts of the country. Formation of an open market with management and structure and scheduling. And also, if something like that develops, making sure that revenue being thrown off from that activity is channeled back into the maintenance and upkeep of that space. And we've heard a lot about issues with the upkeep of that space. And then our last report was, we had a member of the community come to talk about unsanitary conditions of the dog run that's located under the Brooklyn Bridge. He had previously reported issues to 311, had engaged with Parks, and then came before our committee to report the issues. He referenced that there are resources there to enable upkeep and cleaning of the park, namely access to water. And he's mentioned that he and others would help to clean the park if they had access to the water, but apparently the water is shut off to discourage local community and the homeless community from using it to bathe. I spoke to him again today, and he has essentially asked if we can request that Parks power wash it with some degree of frequency. Apparently because of the bridge, pigeons, and what pigeons do. And I'll follow up with Parks to see if that's possible.
In Brooklyn Bridge?
Under the Brooklyn Bridge, yeah.
FDR.
No,
FDR.
Yeah.
Wall Street.
Wall Street,
Wall Street.
Water,
He said
water
Brooklyn
right
Water,
down to
but
the.
then when he was pointing it out,
I
someone
think he
said
does
it's right
both.
under, maybe he meant
Yeah.
FDR, but he said
Remember,
Brooklyn
the FDR is the approach that goes up towards the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah,
It's-
so he's my neighbor and he at first felt very insulted at the meeting. And I want to say thank you, Andrew. He really appreciated you following up and calling him.
So I wanted to understand what turned him off, and he shared some helpful feedback, which I'll briefly share. First, there was someone in the room, not related to the board, who suggested that, why are we spending time on this dog park? It shouldn't even be a dog park there, terrible location, and that created a confrontation that I tried to cut off in the meeting. But the other thing, he observed some body language or facial expressions from board members which suggested that we don't take dog runs in this issue seriously. So just be cognizant as to how we handle our expressions and body language in these types of meetings.
Thanks.
Very much appreciated, and that goes towards the training we'll be doing. Eric, did you have a question?
Yeah, this is for Andrew. I was at that park today and I noticed a contributing factor is that, so that park is underneath the FDR. And that section, above, the FDR, it doesn't have those pigeon deterrent things. So that creates more of the mess on the bottom. So if the Parks Department can reinstall that, then that would preempt future problems.
I mean, if that is a Parks, I don't know if Parks has authority to do that or DOT or, I'm speaking to Parks. I'll raise that issue.
And I'll add that he was somewhat graphic in his description of what was going on there with the pigeons and others, so perhaps that was part of the facial expressions. We were actually paying attention to what he was saying and reacting that way and not something else.
It's that and when the person made the comment.
Well, that
it
was
shouldn't
terrible.
be a
I
dog
agree
park,
that was completely counterproductive. Yeah.
So we're gonna loop Zach in. Zach's been working on it as well, because it's parks, it's the overhang, which is probably DOT. And there may need to be a little bit more of a coordinated effort from the agencies, which he can do a district service cabinet.
Got it. Okay, I'll touch base.
Thanks.
All right, awesome. Tricia, you're up.
Okay, the first thing was, Betty actually brought this to us, thank you, Betty. We were just passing a resolution basically to support the mayor's new, Sandus law, and it's to reduce speed limits around school areas, which is obviously something we can all get behind, so it passed unanimously. And that's a resolution, so we can vote on that first, if you will.
I have a question. I have a question. Did you give any thought to consider, it's a very short block where they're looking. And you have Excellent School at the end of the block that you're looking at. So my recommendation would have been to extend it along the side of the Pexlip School. Because even though they do have a street in front, they use the side for their buses and other things. So I thought that having it extended beyond, considering it's a bigger school and it's right there, might be a consideration.
I didn't because it's hard to go more than 15 miles an hour on that street, but there's certainly no harm adding. You know, like I'm not opposed to an amendment.
That is a friendly amendment I'm seeking. Okay, thank you.
We'll just vote on that then?
The amendment can be added if it's friendly and you feel it goes with the.
Just add it.
Yep.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Second.
All right,
Well, we
so
have to call a question.
is that a call to question, Bob? Is that where you were going?
Call
with
the
that?
question.
He'll
In
call.
second, yeah, whatever.
Okay, so this is a vote by affirmation. Thank you very much. Are there any opposed? And remember, if you're online, you gotta have your cameras on, period. End of statement. Mark?
Members from the
Okay, thank you. Any other opposition? Are there any abstentions? Recusals? Motion passes.
All right, and then we had, District Two Superintendent Kelly McGuire come, gives us his reports twice a year. There were a couple new and great things happening, there's their new initiative Civics for All, which again, can't not love that. It had a big event at the Met this year called the Soapbox Challenge, and our District Two kids made it to finals. So that was great. They've also expanded the testing window for schools, which has always been a pain in the neck, frankly, is that, everybody has to drop everything and do these tests. So the city is now, the mayor's office and chancellor have given schools a little more flexibility as to when they can have these tests, so it works for each school's, the other things they have going on at their schools. It gives them more ownership over when these testing days happen, so that's good. He let us know that Summer Rising, which is our wonderful summer program for kids, is going to be offered at PS 124, at Tech Slip, at Morton Street, at Baruch, at East Side Middle, and PS 6. What else do we have? He did share that David Getz had passed away, for those of you who know him, the beloved principal, East Side Middle, which is in our District 2, and the husband of Jackie Getz, who is the principal of Morton Street. So that was sad. Ronnie Jar is also retiring for PS 89. So that was news. Ronnie is retiring.
That's
25 years she's been principal of PS 89.
Well,
So that was big news. Let's see, what else did he have to tell us? They were at 50% compliance, at class size reduction. They've done pretty well thus far. Next year they have to be at 80. He does not feel as though they're gonna make it. Some of the problem is that the schools don't have enough room to actually be compliant. The decision becomes bigger. They either admit less students, or they annex other spaces. So this is gonna be a thing. They've managed to skirt by the first couple of years of this new regulation. And now they're going to be doing their best. But it's worth talking about because it could change admissions on some of our schools. Because there just isn't the space to have all these, to increase each grade by a classroom is basically what is necessary. So more is coming on that. We're gonna have them come back in October to talk more about that, see where they are. And I think that was all from Kelly. And then I just have some amazing news. As you guys might have remembered, we passed a resolution in March against the proposal that the DOE and SCA and a lot of other people wanted to have happen, is to co-locate this AI STEM high school in 26 Broadway / 81 New Street in the space that Urban Assembly for Girls now is in. Urban Assembly will be closing this year. They have an enrollment of 83. This new school had an enrollment of 450. I think you guys remember how difficult that was going to be. And the principal hadn't been named. They hadn't put out an educational impact statement that was correct. There were so many problems that the curriculum was still in development. And so Kamar Samuels announced yesterday morning that they have pulled the proposal. It is not happening. So we are greatly relieved. And now we are going to help LNC realize their dream of expanding to a 6 to 12 in that space. So more on that soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll add that the school calendar finally came out last week, something we've all been waiting on.
Yeah.
And the school will start Thursday, September 10th, because of the late Labor Day, and Monday, June 28th.
Wow.
Which
It's
is very,
Women's
very
Day.
controversial with a lot of parents.
Yeah.
That the last day of school is June 28th.
Next year, yes.
Bob,
So, that's great news, Tricia. I just want to say a few things about that. The day after parents came to us and I said this at the last meeting, Tricia went down there and assisted the parents with all her knowledge and stuff. And, went, and this was an amazing turning. I didn't, it's great for our after-school programs because the 400 kids from the AI school was gonna completely disrupt the campus during the day and after school. So that was great work by the parents and by Tricia. So that was, congratulations. You ran down there the meeting was at night. She went down there the next day, and congratulations again. That was a great turn. That's great advocacy. It's just as important as the fence in front of Battery Park City. And then, wait.
Should mention
Yeah.
that the SLT and LMC was.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
And then the other thing, for the credit of the new chancellor, he also pulled a stupid proposal at the center school, which was gonna relocate the center school. And that was a lot of kids from this community, and by the way, we're running all the summer rising programs you mentioned. We're looking for staff. But the center school was another bad proposal that he pulled back on. And it was really refreshing to see Chancellor looking at this stuff in the district holistically and making those smart moves.
Well, he came out in a statement in the New York Times this morning, I don't know if you guys saw it, but he said that he takes the feedback from
Yeah.
communities and parents seriously.
Yeah.
And that there had been a lot of pushback on this.
Yeah,
I mean, in 16 years that I've been doing this, that's the first time I've ever heard
absolutely.
it said.
But the other thing that I have to tell you is, we said it, other organizations and supporting like Bob, and even partisan ones said it. People showed up in places, we brought it to the borough board, having that conversation out and in public for people talking, that's what we do, and that's how we elevate. So,
That was good. Yeah.
thank you, Trish.
Great work.
All right, let's move on. Thank you so much. Susan Cole, take it away.
Okay, if you've read, I hope, everything, we could take everything in one fell swoop except 170 John Street. I would like that separate, and I'd like to explain it to you. And I can explain it right now.
No, let's go through everything else.
I wasn't at the meeting. Go back to 200 Chambers, for Carnegie Diners. They were already open. This is gonna be their second location in our, okay. So they didn't hold 33 Main Lane or, okay.
No.
All right.
Okay, so let's do any questions on 66 Pearl, 200 Chambers, 75 Murray, and
431 Washington.
right,
1 Fulton,
and 1 Fulton.
100 Church Street.
Correct. And 146 Carter Road at Governor's Island, all of those. And I would like to say that,
What about
431, which had been an issue, the new owner came in and was very receptive and really worked with the community to adjust his hours and do the variety of things they were concerned with. And we were very impressed.
I just have a question about that. Did
431.
they,
Okay,
did they
first
have
of all,
another?
hold on.
431?
Morton, do me a favor.
What?
Because we're taking so many of them together and it's somewhat unprecedented for us. Whenever anybody has a question, I need you to call your name first and then which address you're questioning, because there's so many of them we're taking at once. And Morton's gonna lead. Go for it.
Yeah, I have a question about 431 Washington Street.
Yeah.
Did they own another place in the village called, the other room? Or is this called another room?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
They do.
Because I have
Yes.
to recuse myself on that because I represent them on this.
Fine.
application.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds good.
And
Eric,
he was very out front and very good.
Eric and then Mark. Eric,
Yeah, Eric, you speaking about 66 Pearl Street.
Thank you.
I have concern with this one in that, why don't they open this outdoor dining on the side of Coenty Slip? There's a whole open plaza there. Instead of having this outdoor dining, street dining right in front of, on Pearl Street.
Well, I can't tell you because I didn't ask, Eric. My sense is this is where the traffic is. This is where it's accessible and they can work more easily. That's what I think. Their hours seemed very good to us.
They could not be on the other side to the level that they have on this side.
Yeah, the other side is much
The
smaller.
other side is very, very tiny and they
Yeah.
cannot set up in Coenty Slip because it's not their space.
Right,
There's not
thank
enough
you.
space in Coenty Slip, that side road there for them to operate there.
Because what's concerning is Pearl Street has a curve. So if you keep going south, you're gonna, what's the physics term? It keeps going in that direction. So as they go south, once they reach that stop sign, Coenty Slip, the driver has to merge to the right. So
Can answer that question.
you're always gonna have the vehicle will always have to turn to the right.
We asked,
Yeah.
he's
Okay,
gonna.
great.
So we pulled up we had Onesh pull up the
Map.
Google Maps. Because as you come around that corner, there is a narrowing right over by Coenty Slip. And the parking is actually off the corner on the side that they're looking, it's a little deeper in. Which is why if you look at their plan, they end not at the
Before.
corner of the property, they end further in by 5 or 10 feet.
Yeah.
Because we had that same question about emergency vehicles primarily being able to access the street.
Right,
And we
right.
weren't happy that it was so narrowed, and they told us that they were required to go further off to, in order to get what they've got. Because we did ask that question, because we had the same
We
concern.
beat you to the punch.
Right.
But it was a good ask.
And also, if I remember correctly, they are narrower, so it's
Yes.
like shorter and it's narrower.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question.
You have to wait.
Go after Mark.
431 Washington, North Tribeca area, very quiet area. And just because you have someone who might be a good operator and is receptive to the community, there was a lot of opposition to this at the committee. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing for the quality of life. Even if someone who runs a good place changes the entire dynamic of the neighborhood when there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden something shows up. Especially in a nice, small, quiet area.
Susan's gonna answer that.
We listened, you were there, I
That was
think,
great.
and we listened and talked with the community about it, knowing that this was one, we pick and choose always what we're gonna vote no against, because we have to go to the SLA and support ourselves. He acceded to a lot of the community concerns that were there. It's not perfect, Mark, it never is. And so you'll vote no, but, and he promised to work with the neighbors, as Pat reminded him.
Onesh has an update as well. Onesh?
Yeah, so we did receive
Thank
a
you.
number of emails and letters with concerns about this location and this application. A lot of people did come to the meeting, both online and in person, to voice their concerns and to basically debate with the applicant and CB1. After the meeting and after everyone came to a compromise at the meeting and voted, I had sent an update of everything that was changed at that meeting for this application to all the people that had emailed in. And asking them if they had any other concerns or questions or anything else to say, to let me know. I received confirmation that they received my email, but nobody pushed back again.
She went the extra yard.
With what the.
I know.
Things like this.
Hold on, Mark, it's not a back and forth.
Yeah, with just the
Yeah,
things.
no,
just
I've
one-
got 3 other people with hands up.
One last 15 seconds. With things like this, the community didn't want it. But they're kind of forced into, their backs against the wall, because they know there is no choice, that it's going to be approved in some form or fashion. So they had their choice.
Which is reality.
But they acquiesce to what they do not want actually to happen.
Well, we negotiated.
Okay, first Joe Lerner online, and then Andrew, and then Jared. Stop. Joe, you're
How-
next.
How wide is the street at 66 Pearl?
It is wide enough for them to have a shortened 6 feet, I believe it is, instead of a possible 8.
Right.
But I'm
Oh,
not,
it's 7.
my question is, how wide is the street? I don't care what the law says. I'd like to know how wide that street is. I go down there quite often, and a lot of those streets down there are quite narrow.
Yeah, DOT approved it, so without, from what we understand, a waiver requested from FDNY. If it makes you feel better, we can probably add it in here that there is a concern about the width, and that we would, and that we do not want DOT getting a waiver. A
That's good.
FDNY waiver.
Thank you.
Fine. Thank you, Joe.
So we don't want it.
We don't want the,
We don't want the waiver.
we approve this as long as DOT is not filing for an FDNY waiver. Andrew?
So Seltzer on the 146 Carter Road at Governor Allen.
Yeah.
Curious if there was any discussion, two questions. One, discussions around one of the 11 bathrooms being ADA compliant, and whether or not they could possibly ADA compliant.
Which one?
And then the second question, they talk about security Friday and Saturday.
I don't remember security, but we did talk about the ADA.
Is that how they landed on those 2 days, or what guided their?
I think what guides them is the Governor's Island group that really monitors them, Andrew. That's how I've always viewed it. And we have given them, we don't give them a total free ride, but they are monitored. And that's why when the ferry leaves and all kinds of things, the boat, I think I don't know whether we asked them about the handicapped.
I thought we did.
I
Yes,
thought-
it was.
I thought we did,
We
right?
wanted-
And they said that there were others or something to the effect.
There are handicapped accessible bathrooms in the building. That is, if you remember, as you're leaving Governor's Island,
There's a
that
bathroom.
building on the left has ADA accessible bathrooms in it. And then the restaurant is down that way, and it has at least one. So there's accessibility, and they're at a location that they're right by the security for the boats.
And if I remember correctly, I think there are multiple stalls in that.
That's what it says.
Yeah, there are, yeah.
Jared?
It's on 431 Washington, just what's stating that here said, I mean, not only is it an operator that it sounds like a lot of people like, but this is an operator who operated this exact establishment, all of 6 blocks to the east. For
Yeah.
20 years.
And he operated one in the village before the village became more hopping when it was still more residential. Yeah.
Yes,
I will
before
say,
hours.
I will say for the record, he compromised a lot on the hours, and he was willing to try opening it up as a coffee shop during the day to provide a location for the neighborhood
Yes.
families and the kids and things like that. So it would be a coffee shop during the day and a bar at night.
Whether you agree or not, the issue is he changed the hours. He allowed for more security,
I think he said he put in windows.
and some black car issues. He was and the community, as Mark said, didn't love it, but they were willing to go along with it. And we explained to them if there was a problem, they had to let us know and report it and go on, okay?
Okay.
Say willing's a little.
So I hear any other questions? I see no other hands.
Question.
So the question was called, the question is second. If you are planning, we're gonna do a vote by affirmation on this. If you need to abstain, oppose, or recuse, you must say your last name and exactly which address, because we're taking them together. So, on a vote of affirmation, we'll start with, are there any opposed?
Lerner,
So, 431 Washington.
Is that the only one you're opposing?
What about 170 John? We're not doing that.
We're not
doing separate.
Okay. Mr. Lerner, are you opposed?
yes to 66 Pearl.
Thank you very much. Mr. Yu?
Eric Yu opposes 66 Pearl.
Okay. Are there, Brendan?
Thompson opposes 66 Pearl.
Okay. Are there any other oppositions?
Jared, you had your hand up?
Jared,
Abstain on sixty-six.
okay, we're doing abstentions.
You gotta say your name.
Perlman abstains on 66 Pearl.
Okay. Are there any other, Meltzer abstains from 66 Pearl? Any
James
others?
abstains from 66 Pearl.
Perfect. Okay, hold on. Fun abstains.
So
Kuchia,
I read the resolution on
There's-
200
wait,
James
sorry,
Street. There was-
Sorry, James, Song, Meltzer.
Yep,
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Now,
also-
Bob, it's up to you.
sorry.
Hold
Kuchia
on,
also-
Bob,
oh, wait
Bob's
for
next,
Bob.
Justine,
Okay,
and
sorry.
then you.
Townley on 200 Chambers Street. I am, Manhattan Youth is on the board. I read the resolution. It seems like there's someone took the signatures and threw it in the garbage or something like that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to recuse, but I'll recuse just.
Yeah, you have-
I have no, let's be clear, we have no financial
It
interest.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't impact the bottom line of the co-op.
Doesn't matter.
Make yourself safe.
No,
Townley recuses. Justine Kucha, what is your vote?
Kuchia abstains from 66 Pearl.
Thank you very much. Are there any other abstentions, recusals, or oppositions?
Yeah,
Ipsley.
I'm recused on, 431 Washington Street, the homeless line.
Thank you.
Corman recuses on 146 Carter
That
Road.
was Corman,
Yes.
accusers.
On Carter Road. Okay, anybody else? Thank you, everybody. It was a little complicated. Motions all passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. There was a lot of negotiation this month. Now 170.
Okay, so you know how I always tell you, we never like to say no to an applicant. We have said no to 170, AKA South Street. It is pretty clear in the resolution. Many neighbors came, complained. They complained about their other place, which is
Old Mates.
Old Mates, and how rude and how unconcerned they were with community issues. And this is a place, it's an open space, and it's really a bar. And it is in a residential area. They refused to do anything, they refused to compromise, and they were quite arrogant, and you know how I love that.
You know where
So-
this place is? This is that place on the corner that used to be the burrito place.
Luchadores.
Yeah, and the whole other issue is the bathroom.
You looked at it?
They didn't have, I mean, they just failed in every way. So, and you know I'm loath to always do this, but this is a no-brainer.
This is
Right,
next
so
to
hold
the
on,
burrito place.
hold on,
Yeah.
hold on.
It's not
Stop,
the
stop,
burrito
stop.
It is the whole block.
Okay, Luchaderos was not given the lease to be renewed.
No.
The owners of that property are intending to give the lease to Old Mates. Old Mates is intending to break down the kitchen that was in Luchadores and set it up as a beer garden.
Oh.
Okay, an outdoor beer garden in connection with Old Mates, but under a separate name. However, within that, and what I don't know if it's super clear about the bathroom, is that we asked about handicapped accessible bathrooms. They said they wouldn't put one in, and they didn't think that the one that was existing there was handicapped accessible. But Old Mates also does not have any handicapped accessible bathrooms.
They said they have a waiver.
And they have a
Whether we
waiver,
believe it or not.
they have a waiver for Old Mates because it's the historic building, so
That's
there was
correct.
no way to get people in. We said that they would need to have, because this is not that, and they said no. They also said that they would be even though this is a separate location, that they would be providing some food off of the Old Meats Kitchen to here. So it really is it is just a beer garden, period. There's really very minimal food service. And they said, well, they would be able to do food service out of the restaurant. But then the waiters would leave the restaurant, walk down the sidewalk, street to go into the beer garden to serve it.
So, Mark,
There's also like residential, windows looking down on the.
you want us to put that in there?
Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't
Okay.
I thought it
it
was.
should be in here already.
I thought it was.
Your correction here on therefore be resolved.
Okay.
You have the wrong.
We have 4:30.
Ah, yes, my bad.
What, Mark? I can't hear.
It's a major typo.
Where?
It's for, therefore, be resolved.
We just opposed the liquor
Ah,
license,
yes.
period.
Yeah.
No, same.
It's still being on.
Will be resolved.
We got it.
It's
Thank
the
you.
wrong venue.
It shouldn't have 431
We got it.
Washington.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Thank
so,
you.
so just to be clear, the therefore be resolved is saying we oppose it without an unless, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
It says we just oppose it, period.
period.
Wait, you said without and unless?
Yeah,
It says unless.
Right, that unless is coming off because
Okay.
we are full out
opposing
opposing
the whole
the
thing.
entire
Okay.
thing. And we did, just so everybody knows, we did ask them to come back
Right.
because the gentleman in the room and the lawyer said, we can't make those decisions. We said we would request it, you not go to SLA, you come back and we have a
They said
discussion.
no.
And they said, no.
Nope, we wanna do this.
Darren,
So,
And then Betty.
time and time again, we hear in this room that we don't oppose things because it just gets done. I don't really understand the logic.
This one won't because it's a fully outdoor venue and there are so many things that are wrong with the conversation. They weren't willing to compromise on hours. They weren't willing to make functional bathrooms. They don't have a full food service thing. There are videos that they posted themselves on their own social media that was presented by the public. There were videos from the public that came. And SLA operates what is considered in the best interest of the public. And that is an important distinction. Supporting small businesses and supporting business is in the best interest of the public unless the public interest is not served by somebody who is egregious.
we know, we have, a lot of faith in the commissioner. As much as she can do, and we also have good standing with her. I want you to understand that, and when we go this route, the likelihood is that we will be successful.
In addition, all the evidence is being sent in along with the resolution.
Yeah.
She's gonna tell them the same thing that we.
Betty, Betty was next.
Which is simply a list of all the things that Tammy mentioned and what we.
Okay.
I think that's really important.
Perfect.
And I emphasize to people, so if somebody votes yes, you're actually against giving a license, and if they say no, they're supporting a license, it's reversed to the name.
Thank you. Andrew,
Can I just clarify, are we saying we're striking from?
unless, yeah, we're just saying CB1 opposes the granting of a new block, period, nothing else.
Yeah.
No qualifications, no nothing.
But you had to mention the name, I wrote it out for them.
So good.
We got a handle on it.
Call the question.
Justine, go ahead.
Those,
Sorry, I just want to clarify, if we vote in favor of this resolution, we're voting down any license for this business. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Thank you.
And see, next call question.
Second.
Okay, we're gonna go by a vote for affirmation. A vote by affirmation means you are saying that, yes, we are not supporting this liquor license. So is there anybody opposed?
I'm opposed.
I think,
So you would like to grant the license
I would, yeah.
as is, okay?
I think,
So that's share opposed?
yeah, I'm gonna oppose, because I think granting a conditional license would be a
They
better.
refuse to do any conditions.
Well, then it's on them. But if we just say no,
We gave
Because
them
What are you voting?
time and they said no.
What are you voting?
I told you why
I
I
feel
said
it'd be a
no.
good idea to.
Let him be, if he wants to vote, let him vote.
Okay, are there any other in opposition? Are there any abstentions? Hearing and seeing no abstentions, are there any recusals? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Quality of life.
And the
Do we have a-
committee,
do we have-
have a great committee.
Do we have a slide for the good neighbor policy, Matt?
Don't know, did you ask for
Yeah.
one?
Did we get the slide for the good neighbor policy?
Go in.
So anyway, quality of life, every couple of months, every other month, we ask the first precinct to come. This month, we wanted to mainly discuss the shots that were heard on Fulton Street. There were 3 shots fired. They couldn't really discuss the case because it's under investigation by the detectives. Overall crime is down in our community. Robberies were up by 1. Noise was down by 10% and car-related crimes were down by 9.5%. That's about it. Our formerly Captain Fisher has been promoted to Deputy Inspector Fisher from now on. So that's that. Then 52 William Street has been a shelter for many, many years in our community. It's the former Radisson that's on William Street. But now it is going to be adult families with adult children. So everyone who will be living there will be over the age of 21. Families consist of, they don't have to be a mother, father, children. It could be a mother and a son. It could be a father and a son and blah, blah, blah. So, but it's a family connections over the age of 21. Totally, they're gonna have eventually, they're gonna have 276 units operating, but they are starting with only 200 units. It's the Highland Park, which is the operator. Highland Park started in Brooklyn. Let's see what else. They're going to serve 3 meals a day. There will not be any medical staff. They have security 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The security will carry 2-way radios. There'll be 50 people in the security staff total. 9 people per shift with 3 supervisors per shift. They'll have an x-ray machine in case you want, if you're coming in, there are no visitors allowed inside, but their residents who are coming inside will go through an x-ray machine. They have an 11 o'clock PM curfew. There is ADA accessibility, food services. You will not have refrigerators in your room unless you need them for some medical reason, like medicine, And that's about it. There's a good neighbor policy. We asked them about this.
There's nothing I heard.
Getting there? All right, well, we asked them about a good neighbor policy. We'll continue to work with them. They did have a good neighbor policy. It is something that we have asked other shelters that we've dealt with in the community to make sure that they understand. We welcome them as neighbors, but that people live in the community. We need to point out, if anyone can figure out any place where they can go and smoke, that would be great. We had this issue before. I don't think you were able to suggest, I told them that they walked over to the trade center that they could. Yeah, we told them they could, go to Folsom Plaza and not smoke there, but have lunch there and, they would be welcome to sit there. Andrew, what were you gonna ask?
What's the considered duration of stay at the shelters? How quickly gets determined?
They're trying to get people into permanent housing, so each case, it depends on, the case, what's needed. I don't think they gave us any, there is no.
It's not a shelter where.
No, people live there, yeah, people live there. There are-
There's 1 to 3 years.
Any other questions? Nope, okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there's a good neighbor policy. No panhandling, no disorderly conduct. You can read it, you can see. But we'll continue to work with them. We'll ask them to come in and, we will see if they need anything from our community, if we could possibly help them with anything. But again, if anyone could figure out where they can go to smoke, that would be great. Eric?
Look, I don't smoke, I don't favor smoking, but I respect people's right to smoke, but why can't they just walk wall features or in the street.
I mean, they can, but we don't want them loitering around the front of the establishment.
Okay.
And I don't think neighbors who live there would like to see 10, 12 people outside. Because also when people stand outside and smoke, they start to talk, they make noise, you know. So if they go out and they have a quick smoke and they go back in, that's fine. But if they want to stand outside and if it's late at night, it's a problem, Tricia.
Are they the whole building, the
Yeah.
shelter?
Yeah, so-
Do they have a roof?
It's not accessible for them to go.
You're kidding? You have ashes in your face.
The one at, the one on,
Not if it's a big.
yeah, the one on William Street, on Washington Street.
Yeah,
Tricia,
right.
The one on Washington Street, they have roof access, but this one doesn't.
Okay.
So. All right.
Any other questions for Pat on this one? Did you go over the new policy on announcements?
What new policy on
DHS, about the address?
No, because I said to her that everybody knows what the.
Okay, so, you will notice that what was on the agenda and what was posted was the former Radisson Hotel. This is our first go around with the new policy that DHS has, that they will not allow us to post the listed address of any shelter, new shelter that's coming or being proposed. We argued that, that's a transparency issue, in terms of public, knowledge and engagement and things like that.
We've never had that.
We've never had this problem, ever.
They said it existed, but they've never enforced this policy.
It's never, ever been like that. And then pursuant to us sending out the agenda on Friday before the Quality of Life Committee meeting, I had a good chuckle because over the weekend, all of the real estate papers picked up on the deal that was made and posted the address in all media. So, because there's a public requirement they have with DOB and contracts with the city. So I don't know how that'll come out, for the next conversation, but that is just something that if you ask,
I mean, I
we'll help
discussed it in
figure
the
it out.
meeting, but they just said that that's their policy, and I said, that's never
It's a-
been the policy before. They said yes.
It's an interpretation, it is the current interpretation of the law and ruling. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
All right?
Is it in
Richard.
conflict with the fair share concept? How
I
is
think
one
the
to?
fair share concept would have to have the address, but that is on the contemplation. And that's supposed to come out before before the deal is done. Fair share is part of what they file before the ink is dry, supposedly. We've seen that not happen necessarily in emergency situations where it just seems like it's, cart before the horse stuff. So we will have to see how this plays out because we don't know, honestly. Tricia?
Given how they cite,
Yeah.
the problem with citing these shelters, that is the absolute reason we need the addresses. And if they can change the way they cite them, and they can already do diligence about schools and all other kinds of things that are really important, that would be one thing. But I would say these things have to go hand in hand,
Yeah, of course.
you know?
We made that argument,
Okay.
but I kind of felt that we were not getting anywhere. And I was told this is the rule.
It's kind of like they really don't want you to know because they don't want you to complain about it.
Yeah,
But I mean, the reason why I brought it up is just so when you're paying attention to an agenda, if you have a question, and if we get a new shelter cited, we'll do the best that we can to explain where it is, even if I have to draw a circle on a map and let you use your own context clues. Sorry. All right, next agenda, Jeff.
All right, Battery Park City Committee, we had a number of items that we addressed at our meeting. We do have a resolution that's listed number 1, but I want to do briefly the reports first. So if we go to the next slide. So we have an annual report from the Battery Park City Authority, CFO, regarding their finances. And so here's a summary of where their revenue came from in fiscal 26, or it's fiscal 25, I guess. One thing to note there is that ground lease revenue, which we'll talk about indirectly on the resolution, is 20% of their income. And 80% comes from pilot, which is effectively property tax set by the city of New York. Next slide. So their expenses in 25 were 389 million. And as you'll see on the left, Most of it went to debt service. Around a third of it went to operations. That debt service really relates to their capital projects. On the right, it shows what happens to the excess revenue that they didn't need for the things that are sitting there on the left. Most of it goes to the New York City General Fund. Around a quarter of it goes to something called the Joint Purpose Fund, which is primarily used for affordable housing around the city. Next slide. And so here's their capital budget. So that debt service that I referenced a moment ago, that's how the capital budget is paid for. It's not paid every year. You know, not all of these expenses are paid in a year. They're paid over the terms of the relevant bond issues. And so you can see on the left, resiliency projects were the bulk of the capital expenses this past year. Actually, this is the projected budget for 2026, not the expenses of last year. So they project to spend roughly $500 million in capital on resiliency projects in fiscal 2026. Most of it, about 87% of it, will be for the new Northwest project, and about 14 or 13% of it will be finishing up the South project, the Wagner Park and related projects. And then you can see on the right, their non-resiliency capital. They're still doing a number of things other than resiliency, but by comparison monetarily, that's small.
Change.
Next, yeah, some change. Next slide. So we also got a report on where the South project is. It's almost done. As we all know, when we visit, Wagner Park is 99% done. The pavilion in Wagner Park is 98% done. And the area that's still being worked on significantly is Pier A and the Battery. That's indicated at 80%. And the time frame they're hoping mid-2026. We've heard May 31st. I believe that when I see it, but the end is in sight in the sense that the issues that were causing the delays, particularly at Pier A Plaza, which were some underground watering issues, have been resolved. So hopefully we'll actually get that done not too distant. Next slide. And so there was discussion, we had a separate session on what are called the street ends projects. These are where the street, Albany Street and Rector Place meet the Esplanade. We've had a lot of discussion in the committee and among residents about what those street ends should look like. Driven a lot by Albany Street, where there used to be this public art outer room sculpture that was a gathering place. And so this project is designed to try to get input on what should be there instead, since the other room is now gone. What's happened, they've had two public sessions, they have a third one coming up. Disproportionately, the people who have attended those public sessions are people who live right next to these street ends. Not surprising. Perhaps also not surprising is they don't really want anything at these street ends. So I urge those of you who actually want something at these street ends, and particularly the end of Albany Street, if you like the upper room, you need to make your voice heard, because right now the voices being heard are people that don't want something there. I'm kind of agnostic myself, but I think the community needs to speak on this and be heard on this. The next meeting is May 20th. If you care about what happens at the end of Albany Street, by all means, try to make that meeting. So, next slide. That's just the street in for Rector Place, which appears to be less controversial. Next slide. Okay, here we are on the resolution. As you've heard from Kavanaugh's office and others, legislation has passed in the Senate and is pending in the Assembly. And before I describe, the legislation is described in the resolution, but before we go any further on the resolution, in light of the comments from Lee's office and Glick's office, I'd like to add their names in the resolution. So if you look at the second page of the resolution, the be it further resolved at the very bottom of that page, which currently says, Community Board One thanks Assembly Member Fall for sponsoring the Assembly bill and urges him and his Assembly colleagues to advance and pass the bill. I'd like to add in reference to Assembly Members Lee and Glick. And so what I would like to add in is after fall, after the word fall, I would add in comma, and Assembly Members Lee and Glick for co-sponsoring, comma, the Assembly bill, and urges them and their Assembly colleagues to advance and pass the legislation. So what does this legislation do? As it was alluded to before, it's a middle-class affordability. What it does is that it would effectively, you saw on one of the earlier slides, 20% of Battery Park City's revenue comes from ground rent. And the ground rent is paid by every building that's in Battery Park City, commercial and residential. And if you're in a condo building, you have monthly charges that you pay towards ground rent and pilot. And that amount of money is not insignificant. It won't break the bank, but it's not insignificant. Under the ground leases in many of these buildings, there are some resets that will come up in the future that could significantly raise the ground rent portion for some of the buildings. And as a member of the public, who's actually a public member of the Battery Park City, Marion Braverman, spoke in the public session. As she points out, a number of people have lived in Battery Park City a long time, and they are retiring there now. And so instead of looking, in your 30s and 40s, as income may be going up, as expenses may be going up, by the time you hit a certain age, that doesn't happen anymore. It kind of goes the other direction. And so there's an income qualification here. It's 150 AMI. If your income is 150 AMI or less, your ground rent would effectively freeze at whatever level it is when you qualify. So it's not like your ground rent doesn't go down, it doesn't go away, it just freezes at that level. And it only applies to primary residents. So if you're a primary resident in a condo building in Battery Park City and you are 150 AMI or less, your ground rent will freeze at the level at which you, either at last year's level, the year before the legislation passes, or if you currently have income above that, the year that you qualify at 150. You do have to requalify every year. The legislation calls for the authority, Battery Park City Authority, to implement regulations to govern the mechanics of how it works. There's a similar provision in the legislation for renters. If you are in a rent-regulated unit in Battery Park City that's rent-regulated by agreement with the authority, and there are some of those units in Battery Park City, the portion of your rent attributable to the ground rent would freeze if you were at that 150 AMI or less. It's passed in the Senate. Brian Kavanaugh's office was responsible for drafting the legislation and sponsoring the legislation. It's passed in the Senate. It's passed 2 years in a row in the Senate. It's pending in the Assembly. Charles Fall has taken the lead in putting it forward in the Assembly, and we've learned today that Assembly members Lee and Glick are co-sponsors. And so what the resolution does is that it urges the Assembly to pass, and assuming it passes, it urges the governor to sign. I see Justine had her hand up. It's down. Do you want to make a comment or have a question? Justine?
Questions in the room?
Yeah, if the one to ask questions in the room first, and I don't really need to say much if there's not too many questions, but Jeff, you did a great job explaining it. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. And remember, we don't need to repeat. I'm gonna go Richard, Eric, Betty, and then thought I saw a hand back that much.
So just a clarification on how it works. If our buildings assess the ground,
they have a ground lease that's specified, whatever.
They assess the ground rent amount, and they have to pass that on to the tenants. And do they have a total that they have to make up? And so that if one tenant doesn't get an increase, others get a higher
No,
increase?
the way the legislation works is that it's technically a rebate that the Battery Park City Authority grants to the resident,
Directly to the resident?
directly to the resident, that's right.
Okay, so it
So,
has
yeah,
no
so-
impact. to the residents.
Right, it has
It has
no
no-
impact on anybody else, because each resident, even if you qualify, you still have to pay whatever the amount is, and then at the end of the year, or as they decide how they're gonna implement this, you maybe get a kickback. But you're paying, everybody's paying full freight, and
The
then
wrong
some
word.
people will get a rebate.
You get a kickback per se.
Just me, verbs matter. All right,
Rebate.
Rebate is the
Eric?
word, not right, thank you, sorry.
Justine, keep quiet, please. Eric,
I interpret these rents, these ground rents as equivalent as property tax. So
No, there's different property. Pilot is the property tax.
This is
This only
rent.
affects ground rent. These
Oh, the ground
buildings
rent.
have leases that Battery Park City Authority owns the land that these buildings sit on. And they pay ground rent under those leases.
Right, but then then Battery Park City takes these ground rents and other funds and then pays Pilot to the.
No.
No. Pilot is separately,
What's that?
it's two separate pockets of money. There's ground rent and there's pilot.
Every
Ground rent is ground rent, it's your lease.
Okay,
every condo owner pays both pilot and ground rent. Pilot is not, it's collected by the authority, but it's basically set by the city because it's set at the tax rate.
oh, okay, so then you said it would freeze for 15 years, so there's
No, it freezes, period.
But so there's never any increase in the future? I'm just thinking things always increase in life and there's no way that it doesn't,
Jeff,
it'll be frozen. at this amount.
As long as you continue to qualify on the income, you will continue to get that rebate.
But then how do you account for when things get costlier or?
Rebate will increase.
Okay, right.
Right.
And.
I mean,
The other,
So if I may, Eric,
No, Justine,
Okay,
Jeff
let's-
answered it, so you sit for a minute, please.
and then the other part is, let's say a person is on the lease, lives there as on the lease, but they have somebody that lives with them, an adult, and they earn money, and they live there with them, but it's not.
Household income.
It's
So it's
household.
overall household.
Yes, they certify you every year.
Okay.
Betty, Eric, you're good,
Yes.
Betty.
I'm gonna ask people to please be quiet, because I know this is controversial, but I oppose this, rent rebate for eligible homeowners in Battery Park City. And I'm one of them. Nevertheless, it has been known for decades that homeowners, especially elders, can become house rich and cash poor due to rising property values and taxes, which together result in larger property taxes. In Battery Park City, there are also the ground rents and the civic fees that are additional property charges. Owners have equity that they could leverage to pay their bills property owners everywhere else in the United States do, such as why reverse mortgages came into being. I do not believe the authority will refund ground rent without collecting from other residents, since these ground rents secure over $3 billion in bonds for the South and Northwest Resiliency, but plus other capital projects. In fact, the authority at the same meeting, CFO, stressed the importance of maintaining the authority's AAA rating in order to minimize the borrowing costs of the bonds secured by these very funds. While it opposed refunding ground rent increases or any other property ownership obligation, I understand the value of keeping people in their homes. Therefore, I suggest modifying the legislation to delay the collection of ground rent increases for qualified owners until the property is either refinanced, sold, or has a change of ownership. This would allow owners without adequate cash flow to remain in their homes. At a time when many people are frustrated by how hard it is to become or to be a property owner or to afford rents in Battery Park City, I think that it would be unreasonable to give any condo owner the median price now is $1.1 million of equity. The median price, I'm sorry, that was the mean price is 1.3. Median price is $1.1 million. So you have that kind of equity, and to get a refund on ground rent increases, I think is unreasonable to do, especially since I don't think they're gonna be forgiven and no one's gonna pay them. Not when they secure all the bonds.
I would just point out that the ground rent is set by leases that have an extended period of time, so that can't be changed for some financial reason. But anyway,
Jeff,
those are
may I
arguments.
Never mind.
Justine, now it's your turn.
Sorry, I was just gonna
Well,
respond to Betty. I think you really very eloquently stated a position. I would think the Battery Park City Authority would agree with you 150%. One thing to note is, as Marianne Braverman said, who's our public member in our committee, the people who would likely be benefiting, whether they're renters or owners, would be people who bought not today, not last week, when the median price of the homes in Battery Park City are $1 million. That's correct. Anybody who could afford that kind of money would not be making would not qualify at all, because their income in the household would not be 150% of AMI or lower. The people who, it's my turn now, Betty, thank you.
I'm watching you make
Okay.
it.
May I finish? The people.
Yes, please do.
Thank you. The people who it would benefit are people who bought in the 80s and 90s, and perhaps the early 2000s, who did not pay that kind of top dollar for their properties, who live on a fixed income at this point in time, and who qualify as moderate or middle income people, even low income people, if you can pay your monthly bills on that regard. And perhaps of that regard, some of the renters who are in Tribeca Point and I never can remember the other one, but there's another Tribeca building where they have a contract where by contract with the Battery Park City Authority, those renters are the equivalent of a 421A program, but their rent is lower due to their income until 2069. That's the other side of this. But for the condo owners, every year you have to prove that you are qualified and eligible for this rebate. It is means tested. You must prove that you live as your primary resident in Battery Park City. The number of people it is helping or would possibly help is not everybody in Battery Park City. The amount of money that would be rebated by the authority is not that much comparative. What did you say, Bob Townley, before about the drop in the bucket? It's a drop in a bucket to them. And at the end of the day, Betty, a suggestion about the
Justine, are you
reverse
done?
mortgage. I'm almost done. The suggestion about the reverse mortgage assumes that people haven't done that already and still can't make ends meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Jason in the back.
Before we spiral into should have been talked about at the long meeting in committee.
It was.
Yeah, but I'm gonna not say limit debate, but let's get the last. Sounds like a lot of good work done, but let's.
I actually would like to propose a motion to limit the debate to 5.
A couple more people, but yeah, something like that. That was my comment.
Everybody okay with 5 minutes and then call for a vote?
Yes.
I'm seeing lots of nodding heads. Okay, Andrew.
Jeff, I'm just curious, has anyone modeled out what the impact is of this?
I assume that the authority probably has, because they proposed themselves something very similar a few years ago, but it never went anywhere.
With the,
Did they present what that model looks?
they were working with the electeds on it.
No, they didn't present the model.
Yes, my understanding is that the increase in the ground rents is just extraordinary, right? It's like multiples and multiples of what they were.
Different leases have different provisions, and they are in the many of them have been under renegotiation to try to eliminate those multiples upon multiples.
Do those enormous increases still exist in some cases?
I don't know. None, as far as I know, it depends on your definition of enormous. I guess is what, is how best to answer that.
Your definition is.
For some, they're developers.
Thank
Joe
you.
Learn is online.
One more, if you have spoken, we're not, Joe, go.
I need a little, if I'm a renter, I pay, ground rent prices. What's the difference between a regular payment for renting and this ground issue?
I can answer that for you, Joe, as a renter. I do not pay a ground lease. Whatever the landlord charges me includes the ground lease and whatever he sends me. So the rent rates in Battery Park City are based on whatever the landlord chooses to charge. So
Right.
he can make profit.
But the legislation would freeze that portion of a covered renter's rent that went to the ground rent, leaving the regulations to be written by Battery Park City Authority on how to calculate it, but you can imagine relatively straightforward arrangement there.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe. Are there any other questions?
Wait. Is this only for condos and co-op apartments?
It's for, I don't think there's any co-ops in Battery Park City.
There are a couple.
Okay, so it'd be co-ops, condos, and the relative handful of rental units that are in certain types of rent regulated units.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe, you got all that?
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
Call the question.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Question's been called. This is a vote by affirmation. Okay, again, because this is not roll call, this is vote by affirmation. We have the one from exec that'll be the last one at the end. So on a vote by affirmation, are there any opposed? Last name and your vote, please.
No.
Thank you. Are there any other in opposition?
Point of information, if you're an owner of a condo in Battery Park City, are you, do you have to recuse yourself? Like I just had to recuse myself.
Not necessarily.
I'll leave it to the lawyers.
I leave it to people to have checked their own coins.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
That's what y'all know. All right, are there any other oppositions? Hearing and seeing none, are there any abstentions?
Eric, you abstains.
Thank you, Eric. Are there any other abstentions? Here.
Zelter abstains.
Zelter abstains. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay.
Just for the sake of being,
Hold on.
oh, you're
Hold on,
still
let
doing
me
it.
call recusals and see what happens. Right, we can't take questions. People needed to have checked their coins before they get to the room. So, are there any recusals?
To be safe and fair, I'll recuse. But
Thank
I
you,
can tell you,
Justine.
I did check my
Stop.
coin and it
Let's
was
just
fine.
vote. Stop.
Yes, no.
Just Kuchit abstains, recuses. Good kind recuses. Okay, anybody else? Hearing no others, motion passes. There's a lot of real deep dive work on this, and I want to thank everybody, whether you
Yes.
supported it or not.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
complicated,
you.
and I
Yes,
appreciate the
fantastic.
work that
Yes.
everybody did.
All of
Next. My last?
We said that to.
Betty, you're up.
I can say, it was very good for a representative from the DOT to go over the DOT's thinking about our various district budget requests from last year. I would encourage any other chair to do the same thing if they get those sorts of responses from the agencies that they work with. And that's really all I have to say. If you want details about anything from the budget, listen to the tape.
Thank you very much, Betty. I appreciate you win the award for shortest report tonight. Woo! Next. Next. Ned is not here tonight.
Who?
Ned is not here. She asked, She asked Alice to do it, and Alice, can you do it
Alice is
online?
buffed. Are there any resolutions?
I did not know that I was being asked to do this, Tabby, and I am on a broken train here, but with very little electric.
Yeah, I kind of
I'm
didn't know
sorry.
either. If you want, Zach and I can take it.
As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. If I can be helpful, I'm happy to, but take it away.
Okay.
I was not at the meeting, but
I was at the meeting.
this is comments on the Public Design Commission preliminary submission
Right.
from the board.
So I'll do the quick reports first. Small data, a business data briefing and resources was freaking fascinating. I really think that everybody should actually watch it and listen. And it showed that actually, for small businesses and storefront retail, the areas outside the downtown alliance are doing better than the areas inside the downtown alliance. But both of them vastly behind anything that's in Midtown. So it was just really interesting data that they brought. I really appreciated. We asked them to focus on CB1 and they did a great job. So I encourage you, it was well reported from comments that I made and Rosa made and Alice made. So there's a lots of, and there were some small business owners there. So it's great.
Is it
Fundraisers.
Is it rent? Why are they doing worse? Okay, it's a combination of things.
Combination of different things, absolutely.
Can I just insert one quick comment, which is that in our area, it was 22% vacancy rate.
Yeah.
Way higher than anywhere else.
Right.
Like, for.
Yeah, some, and the hard thing that they don't have in the analysis is how many buildings have been emptied in order for it to be sold. There's an aspect of that. There's lots of different aspects that are going on right now. Affordability, foot traffic, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we had Owen Elton, who is a CB1 fellow from the Fund for the City of New York. He did a land use mapping project. Zach, do you want to talk about that?
He is, oh boy, this was more than
I remember this one.
Yeah, you wanna
Jason?
go?
This was the underutilized zoning floor area,
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Obviously, there's underutilized zoning floor area, and he did a good job of identifying it graphically and using things like young people use, like harvesting data. And right? And he identified sites, and he presented these sites, and if anybody really wants to develop them, they should hire this guy.
Okay.
all right. Love it.
Any question?
Yes.
When we have these fellows do these reports and whatever, can we, if we think that they are ready for prime time or whatever, can we post them on our website or make them available
Yes.
for us to?
They will be published. We used to have a beautiful archive of published reports by the community board and it will be there. And we'll do the link, parts of the link to the video as well.
Okay, good.
That's the Zach project.
We're still trying to get that report out of that fellow.
All right.
But the other project, is on the website. That's the 311.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so Borough-based jail, this is the comments on the Manhattan Borough-based jail's preliminary submission to PDC. We had done a preliminary resolution, a preliminary letter with feedback that we gave while they were still formatting feedback to be able to change the, designs before they went to PDC. This is the official part of the project of it. So we've attached everything, including what we did on April 28th, interesting. About all of the different, aspects of everything, for the jail. This is the third time this has been reviewed. And it passed unanimously in committee. Are there any questions? Again, this is about PDC. This is not whether it do, whether it don't, anything, construction, nothing. This is PDC only. Susan?
Do you really think we have a shot? That's my question.
I actually, well, I mean, the building's getting built, but I do think that our
Yeah,
feedback
that's
on
the
what
piece.
we're saying does have merit, yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Call the question.
Second. Fantastic. This is a vote by affirmation. Are there any in opposition? Hearing and seeing none, are there any abstentions? Hearing and seeing none, are there any recusals? Fantastic, motion passes.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about the noise complaints that were happening around the borough-based jail? Did we have any information about that?
It's coming to.
It's going to
see next month.
EPC. It's gonna be in EPC with the environmental.
Why is it not coming to quality of life?
Because it has to do with the environmental monitors. So it's going to EPC until construction starts. They're still in like this weird phase.
Because the monitoring we knew about that was in quality of life.
They do not have a monitor thus far for construction. They only have a monitor for deconstruction.
No, yeah, I know that, but I'm saying the noise monitoring, we had, okay, whatever, all right.
Well, yep, it will end up back there.
Okay.
All right, so this goes back to Pier 15, I believe is our last resolution, which was from exec, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So are there any questions on Pier 15? Jeff, and then Eric.
The community benefit fund, is that something that's planning to exist already, or is that something that we're requesting to exist?
Oh, we're requesting. They had no planning to do anything.
Nothing.
Okay.
You know what?
No, he answered my question.
Fantastic.
I
Tricia,
know about them,
who?
about the dock people.
Oh, we know them well.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Don Loyola is the CEO of Waterways, which operates the ferries on the Hudson River.
Right.
He's also the one who manages the Brookfield Pier. And he manages most piers throughout Manhattan, I would say a majority
Yes.
of the piers as Dock NYC. So he's both the ferry boats and he's a berthing manager. It's a very nice, I picture him with like Monopoly hat.
And he's the owner of Dock, he's the owner of Dock NYC.
He is Dock NYC.
He is, it's him,
It's him.
and he's very charming.
It's a corporation.
And smart.
Yeah,
But it's
a
not
sub-
the
it's a-
territories, the waterways. It's
It
not-
is part of New York
Waterways
Waterways.
part,
It's a sister company
sister.
or a
It's
sub.
big bucks, baby.
It's all part of Billy Bay Marina, which is all waterways.
Yeah, it's not like they gave, someone the lease on Pier 15. It's a
Yeah.
significant player, they competed with Hornblower,
All right,
they blew them away.
do I see any hands online? Any other questions?
All the
I
questions.
don't. All right. Questions, Paul? This is roll call.
All right.
I didn't see anybody. Not a hand. Who's,
I'm just,
sorry, Onesh, do you have somebody? who had-
Might be somebody from the public.
I think so, good.
I just want her to double check.
Acknowledge.
Oh, yeah. I know who it is. It's Tom, Burton, a former board member, and beloved asset of our community, Manhattan by sale. But Tom knows as well as everybody else that the public cannot speak during the full board meeting.
All right, so roll call. Amarissa,
Yes.
Blank. Help us get out of here in a hurry. Blank. All right, I guess she's gone. Cassell,
She's there. She's there. She'll come back to her.
Cassell. Chang,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Charcudian,
Charcudian, yes.
Cole,
Oh, yes.
Corman,
Corman, yes.
Guccia.
Sorry,
Hey, y'all,
Kuchia,
just come up.
yes. Kuchia, yes. Sorry about that.
Curtis, Dimick. Guess she's gone. Flores.
Yeah.
Friedman,
Friedman, yes.
Froman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Galloway, yes.
Goodkind, Hernandez, James,
Come back.
Joyce,
Joyce recused.
I got one.
Yeah.
Kay,
James abstained, sorry.
Alice is back.
Lerner,
Lerner, yes.
Lewinson,
Lewinson, yes.
Joyce
Belzer,
Meltzer, yes.
Minsley,
Minsley, yes.
Moore,
More yes.
Panya, Rios,
Rios, yes?
Robinson,
Robinson, yes.
too late. Shear, it's too late in my head. Song, guess they're gone.
No.
Song,
Sorry.
Thompson, yes. Townley,
Yes.
you,
Yes.
Yes.
Zelter,
Yeah, Seltzer, yes.
what did she do?
Blank is back. She's there. Oh,
Blank. Oh, still gone.
She's muted. No, she's muted.
Well, she's
Blank,
muted, I can't-
okay,
No,
hold
no,
on,
it's
hold on.
yes. She said yes. She
Blank,
said yes.
yes, thank you.
And Joyce changed hers to abstain. She's not confused.
You haven't made a mistake.
She made a mistake.
All right, thanks,
Do you
everybody.
have everybody?
Is any old business?
Nope. Okay. Motion passes. Thank you very much. 9:10 meeting is adjourned. Happy